Good morning and welcome to today's live show. I was checking out AMD earnings. Oof, what a little suffering we got going on there. And that had a reversal signal. So that tells you something about earnings and why we mention staying away from earnings is usually a good idea. But as we go through, we need to look at some levels for this morning. So let's go pay attention to some stuff. We have our daily expected moves up on your chart right freaking now. Let's go. We do see that the daily expected moves are producing a upside of 606.29 to the upside and 597.27 to the downside. We are going to briefly discuss this downward weekly expected move just because the next point that I think we need to be paying attention to is, well, potentially the put call levels, right? Let's look for some kind of put wall, some kind of call wall. We see call wall at 607. Hey, doesn't that look a little bit like where our daily expected move is? And then after that, we can look to the put side. We have 590. And 590 is down by that weekly expected move, okay? So we're paying attention to those two levels. That's for the expiration for today. If we pull that out to Friday, you are starting to see how 590 is a serious level, and that's what I wanted to point out to you guys today. 590 is a serious level for the options expiration on Friday. That means if we hit this point before Friday, well, we might actually see that level hold as some support. So very, very interesting. Now, what could be something that people are going to react to today? Well, today we do still get some data, and we will get some little bits of data coming out in the morning, right? We get the 30-year mortgage rate, we get the ADP employment change, we get all the good stuff, exports, imports, right? Maybe people will read into this due to tariffs. But the main thing is 30 minutes after the open, we are going to get ISM services PMI, and people could have a reaction to that. So we're going to pay attention to those reactions. We're going to see if the SPY is going to make a higher low or go make some kind of divergence, right? If this is going to be in the downward direction, those are the two things we would want to react to if they did show their face, and then we'd end up in the upward direction. If those things do not show up, right? If they do not show up and they keep trailing down, or they show up and fail, we need to seriously pay attention. We are at the bottom of the channel, and you can see crazy stuff past these levels. The reason that we're paying attention, if this is all downside, 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 is just because you would be crossing over the daily chart, and that would add some big probability too. You might be seeing something a little bit crazier. We might end up down towards a monthly expected move pretty quick, right? 579.36, we still have that level. We have this support down in here, this little box of support that we've used a couple of times now. So we're gonna pay attention to it. Now, that's just why you have to treat it seriously, though, if today is some kind of negative day. Now, I did want to show you something real quick, so I left volatility up over here, and I wanted to show you how volatility could come back in. And I think this is how it overall comes back in, and that means that we head in the downward direction, right, for a little bit of time, and then at some point we might turn back up. Maybe it's after we fill a gap down here, but we're going to see if we hold divergence on the MACD and RSI. That would tell us that this 2-hour by the center line is going to maybe curl up one more time, right? So we wanted this 2-hour to really just start breaking down, but as we never saw that second move higher, right? We never saw the double dip yet. Now you're seeing people get a little bit, I think, to the greedy side, to the call side, and they're kind of ignoring the risk that, hey, this 2-hour turns up and we just see another burst of volatility. So I'd just be aware of that. Ultimately, though, we need to go over a bullish case as well. If we are going to see something bullish, aka maybe go tag these upward levels or go tag the daily expected move, well, the 2 hours got to cross, right? The 2 hours got to cross, and that has not happened yet for the SPY. It's trying to happen at the last part of the day here for the RSI. The last bar here, I really don't like that one that much because it only has 30 minutes of price action in it, but the Qs have already confirmed this up for a couple of bars. Not the best confirmations, but this would say the Qs were leaning towards that upside move, but you see how quickly you need to possibly react when that does cross down by the center line. So if that's crossing down, we lose the 5. This could be a problem right away in the morning. As this is holding the 5, I want to see if we kind of build up a little bit more until we get data in about 30 minutes. So yeah, the bullish case is just the 2-hour curls up, and then you don't have to manage any risk, right? You don't have to manage the trade. But the bearish case is like, hey, we got to show this as a strong base, and if we do not form that strong base, then the bearish case would be, hey, we're heading lower, possibly to a monthly expected move downside, okay? So at this point, though, I really wanted to show off at the beginning of this video how important 590 is, because that can tell us a lot, right? We're not just saying, oh, this is going to plummet through the ground. We're going 590 If we get there, we have the weekly expected move, we have a big influx of open interest there, and we see, ooh, what if that holds as support? Okay, something can happen there. Or if it just makes a higher low. All right, guys, so good morning. I hope everyone's doing good today. Hope everyone's doing well. I hope you guys are ready for your day. Hopefully you have your plan in place, right? If you are planning or have a trade or see a trade setting up, that is when I usually set up some kind of plan for myself and pretty much go through the plan the whole way through, right? Hey, when this happens, this is going to be my trigger. This is going to be my trigger. These are going to be my 5 reasons. And when this happens, boom, I'm going to make a decision. And here is how I'm going to manage the trade. Which phone? Oh, which phone did we get? Mama had been using an iPhone 12 Pro, so we I upgraded her. She was kind of hesitant. She didn't really like the AI in the S25 Galaxy, or the Galaxy S25. She didn't really like the AI in it, so I got her an S23 Ultra, and she's loving it. She's absolutely loving it. But like, if you've had an iPhone 12 since like 2020 or whatever, and then now you get that phone, also like Samsung phones are just immediately like 3 years ahead of all iPhones, in my opinion. But yeah, it's pretty cool. She's really enjoying it. She gets the stylus and all that stuff. She said she really loves the stylus, and that's why I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll get this for her. She needed it. And then she took a picture of our baby girl and she was like, oh my God, I didn't know pictures could look this good. And I was like, yeah, well, that's what happens when you switch phones after 5 years or whatever. All right, so as of right now, opening in the downward direction, something I will be keeping my eye on is this volatility on the 30-minute. I really want to keep my eye on this. And notice where it's happening, right? It's on the 5, but it's at 1683. It's just a great level where I see some reactions. You can see no reactions around here, but a lot of the time when you do see reactions, you end up seeing it right around this level right here, 1683, 1504, or 1212. So I would mark those off on my chart, but I'm going to pay attention to this as well. I'm also looking over at some things, and you're noticing that volatility is giving a reversal signal. This looks really curvy, still rejecting off the 5. And then you look at something like Amazon. You look at something like Amazon that's starting to fall. You look at something like Meta, which is way up high, and it looks like, hey, that thing needs to turn down at any moment. And it's confirming divergence close to the center line. This gives me more reasons for this to drop. And the fact that AMD actually had a bad earnings, I think AMD, if they would have had, well, you know, a bad earnings, if you will, right? Green numbers, bad reaction. So kind of rough there. But the reason I was interested in this is because AMD was showing 2-hour divergence. What was it? NVIDIA showing 2-hour divergence and performing right now. So very interesting. Maybe this is going to be that influx into NVIDIA because AMD gave bad stuff. And then SMCI had the reversal signal as well. And that did confirm, and that has shown some good upside. You're beating the high right now. This is all good things for like SMCI and NVIDIA. It's just bad for AMD right now. We notice on the other side of things, just to change topics, you know, very, very quickly because I have ADHD and that's what I like to do. Look at AMC confirming the 2-hour signal on a green bar. We are back in the option play, baby. We're back in those options, baby. Well, not we, but me. So something I'll watch here is just, are we able to maintain the 5? And is GME really able to do something here? I mean, GME still falling, still falling. This is one that, like, I really think this needed to turn around to help each other out. And I just don't think it's happened, right? That buying hasn't stepped in. But just note the implied volatility for GME still extremely low. 25.14, and you're about to go towards a weekly expected move at this moment, and you do have forms of divergence that could pop up on the 30-minute. Now, you want to take into consideration that this 2-hour signal has been violated, so it's not a perfect signal anymore. It has a blip in it. That's kind of a problem, but as long as it's close to that center line, as long as that next push pushes you into positive territory, right, and nothing goes wrong, that can be a bottom in some way. But you're going to want to watch it very closely for rejections, right? Because it's not a very, very good signal at this moment. It's there. It's saying it can happen, but I like it to look nice and good, nice and clean. And if this actually goes up, you have to be aware that that can fall again. That means 30-minute managements are going to be very important there. What else do we got happening across the board? We see Apple. I think Apple is super interesting, by the way. Apple actually going down to a weekly expected move, catching a bounce. Now seeing some more upside as we reject from the 5-day moving average. I don't know why I said reject, like some girl off Mean Girls, but this is crossing down. Okay, you see that from the RSI. You see that the MACD is such a lagging indicator that it's hard to catch those gaps, but the price action is telling you, the RSI is telling you, and then if this dips down to lower levels, I would watch out for divergence down here. Okay, this is something that we teach in the course, right? If you took that course while the sale was up, hey, you're probably looking at Apple going, hey, if this is going to prove as a right shoulder, that would be awesome. I would see a 30-minute divergence here. That would be even better. And then we would see some kind of 2-hour cross up into positive territory, take back the 5 and end up at higher prices. But you have to be aware that other stocks are sitting up high. Volatility, I don't know why I just clicked like 8 times right there. Volatility potentially has a reversal signal, right? So this means some problems. This means that Apple could be in danger of seeing a big downward move if it breaks that weekly expected move and doesn't create a base here. So just, you got to be like cautious with it. You got to be like really cautious with it. And the way you're cautious with it is you wait for that confirmation, right? The weekly expected move, and then you come back in it and then you say, okay, that's going to be the next 2-hour move that takes out this level and maybe goes to 236.36. So that's what I'd be paying attention to for Apple. I'm going to discuss Apple most likely in a Patreon video soon. So we will be talking about those type of things on Patreon with our members. As of right now, no cross down on the MACD just yet for the actual SPY, but we'll be watching. All right, what are you guys chatting about? Sorry, I just wanted to get through some things real quick. Meta seeing some positivity right out the gate. Getting rid of, well, yeah, getting rid of some of those sell signals. Meta acting crazy, looks like be heading towards a weekly expected move. It does, it looks like it's squeezing up towards there. That's what it seems like right now. It seems like a squeeze towards 717 would make a lot of sense. We'll have to see how that goes. I was really waiting for that to get to that weekly expected move. I thought that would be nice. Will you call in WMT? Walmart looking for a reason to take profit. Now it seems to me that there's some kind of possible divergence forming on 30-minute, maybe a 2-hour. Walmart, if that's Walmart, right? That's Walmart. Okay. Walmart, yeah, you see it on the 30-minute. It's there. But this could be a whole new like trend setting up, weirdly enough. I would more pay attention to the 2-hour one. I would see if the 2-hour fails. Because once you see the 2-hour here, it kind of clears it up and says, yeah, most likely that 30 minutes not just going to keep going like this, right? I mean, it can keep doing that. And that's why maybe I wait for a confirmation. And then I would say downside's the most likely option, right? We would see a bigger downward move. We haven't seen a daily crossover in some time. You have daily divergence there. This could be actually reaching towards a Walmart major top, honestly. This could potentially be right now. This could be a little bit in the future when we make a divergence more close to the center line, right? You see how we moved sideways, went for that test of the high, and then we kind of crossed up and crossed right back down by the center line. That's really nice. That's a good little hint there. But if this can pull back again, see another cross up, right? Pull back again, see another cross up, and then fail, where it goes like, oh, you see a rapid move, and then it takes out the high. I think that would be something to watch out for. But if the 2-hour curls down, that would mean, you know, potentially a pullback is coming on the daily scale, right? So that's what we'd look into. If the daily crosses, you have daily divergence. So this can get kind of ugly for Walmart soon. That's just showing you the risk. It doesn't mean it can't keep curling up. It doesn't mean the signal here, if it crosses over, it can't fail. You do have earnings coming around the corner. So you got a lot of things that you're going to run into for Walmart, but you do see those signals. So if I had a long-term play on this, I mean, this thing will most likely be dropping in the next, it'll probably be lower than this point in the next year is what I would say. But you got to be paying attention to signals to really figure that out. And you got to be able to pay attention if you're wrong. So it's like, if I take a leap, what's my out? Is it, I have a 2-hour divergence? Is it when the daily divergence confirms? When did I buy the leap? You know, there's a lot that can go into it. So I'm just going to tell you what's going on with it. You have a 2-hour divergence at the high. That 2-hour divergence can sometimes, right, turn down a daily chart. The reason I'm saying sometimes right now is because it is still high up. You see how it's as high up as this one and that last one, right? We did see that confirm, but you saw this sideways. So you want to make sure that's not going to see another little curl up like this or something. It's a good one, though. Thank you for pointing it out. I wish earnings wasn't there, because then I could treat that signal a little bit better. We haven't checked on Google yet. Google is suffering a lot here. And Google's one of the ones that had the reversal signal, and then it happened. But it's like, yeah, I could be one of those guys that comes out and he's like, see, there's a reversal signal here and this and this. It's like, it's just 50-50 with earnings. So I'm not going to read into this at all and tell you that the signals got this one completely right. It was just based on earnings. We noticed that the earnings actually coming out green on the earnings there, revenue coming in at a minus 0.23. So a little bit of bad news there. It turned out to be a lot of bad news there and big downside. 2-hour divergence was not there, it's just there on the RSI. So is this some kind of massive drop or is this some kind of trick? That's what I'd be looking at. Is this some kind of trick right now? So I think something we'll watch here. And yeah, obviously we're going to need to see more price action. You can't really dictate much from this besides like maybe a scalper stepping in. But we're going to watch if these things are able to actually curl down, right? The big thing is watch the SPY, watch the volatility as volatility goes down to possibly fill a gap. And then we get data in 20 minutes, right? We get data in 20 minutes. So it's not holding the reversal on the RSI right now for the VIX. So just pay attention to that. I mean, there's always a chance that it recovers. You don't want to say like, oh, is it possible for it? Of course it is. It always is, right? It always is possible. Anything is possible. That's what I would say, right? Is this an actual opportunity right now, or am I just seeing a big move and saying, oh yeah, that's got to give up some, so I got to buy calls, right? That's not how I like to do things, right? I like to wait till it's very obvious. I don't want to take something based on hope that this comes back up. Even if it does and I'm right, hey, that's fine, but that's just not my game, right? I like to make very, very good decisions, and that's why I'm just chilling right now overall. Looking for that, maybe looking for this, right? Maybe looking for volatility to give that little turnaround. The only problem with me right now is you didn't really hold that on the RSI at all right here. Which is very interesting to me. It's very interesting you didn't hold it because it looks so nice on the MACD. Happy to have you, Ephesius. Good morning. IWM looks so juicy. I mean, IWM just doing the thing, right? Curling up on a 2-hour, right? It's trying to curl up on the 2-hour, trying to get up to this level probably right here. Then we see that pullback, and this would be really how you want to head higher at this point. Can the 30 minutes see a little pullback in here at some point? It's not even overbought, right? You're probably going to see something like this again, even at this high, right? See something like this, pull down, then go right back up. Maybe you'll see a little lip on the end there. But we'll see if that continues, right? As of right now, 30 minutes still by that center line, and you're going up into liquidity, so we'll see. We shall see, my friends. Do you think the market will care about ISM either way? Well, they're heavily reactionary right now to any kind of data point, really. But they're more reactionary to the reaction from the data. When it comes to like yields, bonds, dollar, it's more those reactions that I think people are paying attention to, right? The first thing they're going to do is look at the yield. Palantir thoughts are, hey, massive earnings. Watch this pull back, you know, like watch for the 5 to catch up, right? The same thing with earnings, right? I'm not going to play the earnings. This had reversal signals to go down, right? And it ended up going up, but it was turned up on the 30-minute when that went to the upside, so that's interesting. But you'll notice that it's kind of holding very well. If it continues to do that and then the 5 is able to catch up, your next run might be just down the line a little bit. You're just waiting for that 30-minute to dip down and curl back up. Right, now that you have earnings, you have to be patient for a bit, see if it can pull back for you and give you that opportunity. 420, let's go look at it. Yeah, you gotta be willing to be patient for the actual opportunity. Oh, there it goes. It's beautiful. God, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's so pretty. Yeah, so I think this means that over time, you know, you can always retest things. You want to see if failures are happening in any way, like if a daily or even if maybe a 2-hour crosses down, but the 2 hour is pretty positive, so that could just be a pullback. But now you're looking for, hey, can this be strong? Can this take this out, right? Can this take that out? Because you're seeing this right here. That's your kind of like your little box in here, right? you have this little box that's like, hey, this held as support. This tried to hold as support. This lost it and it got bad. Hey, we reacted back up to that area. We rejected directly from that area. We turned back down. So you see how important taking back this really is right now for MSOS. Looks good. I'm happy for your trade. That's what I got to say. Right, Justin? It's really nice. Yeah, TLT, a little bit tricky, but also very, very nice. So TLT gave that 30-minute divergences all around here, and then it made this nice little floor. If you notice, like, and if you saw the divergence here, good job. I mean, it's not like the best divergence in the world, but you see how dramatically up the RSI is from the first point. You see that down there? You kind of see this connection right here, and you're going, wow, that's dramatically up though, and we have almost even lows. So this looks like almost double bottom, and it's starting to produce. We'll see what happens with this. Once again, we get data in 16 minutes, so we have to kind of like be happy about it and then be like, okay, cool. I need to make sure I'm reacting and have a plan for the data this morning. Yeah, Terry, I don't mind that at all though. And 2 hour crossed up, right? 2 hour crossed up. You're getting to the point of divergence where you have to start to violate though. So something we can do is maybe look at the 10-year, right? You don't see any reversal signals there. You look at the 10-year, you see the daily rejecting the cross up. You see the daily, you see the 4 hour not able to cross up and not really looking that good here, right? So the only thing you might say is like holding this divergence point, but that's kind of like, I think that's nitpicky, but it would be something to just be slightly aware of. What moves will happen if good or bad data? Impossible to know. Impossible to know. You have to look for if more buyers are showing up or if more sellers are showing up, and that's why we trade momentum. We don't have data yet, though, Rathar. Or Rother. I don't know. Hey, Shane, thank you so much for the $5. You want to look at UAL? I will look at that right away. But yeah, it's not like good or it's really not like Rother. I don't want you to think of it this way anymore because it's very, it doesn't help you necessarily. Like it really doesn't help you that much because people are making decisions that bad news is good news, good news is bad. Like I think people are confused. Right? I think people are very confused, especially when you add tariffs in with data and things like that. So I think paying attention to how people react will be overall better than sitting there trying to be like, oh, if we get this number, then this has to go up. So I'm going to take calls right now. Or maybe it's even, I'm going to take calls right after the number comes out, if it's the number I think. You know what I mean? Because what if that's the number you think is good for, say, the economy, but it's bad for inflation and people react to inflation and they sell it, right? So let's just watch which way this one wants to go and then react accordingly once we see a strong base. That's overall what I'm thinking here. All right, Shane, let's go look at that real quick. UAL, okay, United Airlines, very interesting here. 30-minute able to go positive, able to take back that 5-day for a moment. I don't want this to cross right now. I want this to possibly even reach up higher. Okay, I want it to reach up. I want it to reach up to these levels a little bit. Now, if it wants to pull back, it still would say pullback is just a little bit closer to negative territory than I'd like. But if that could curl up, that'd be great. I would like this to extend first, then pull back, use the 5, and then curl back up into positive territory. I think that would be great. As we look at this for the time being, we see that the 2-hour chart is showing some interesting things. And you're noticing that you're getting closures down here. You're getting almost a higher low. If you ignore this, you're almost getting a higher low according to your RSI because the closing of this green bar that came down was all the way up here. So it's almost acting like, hey, that bar doesn't exist. This is a higher low. So the 2-hour confirming up says going to try to test this level or break through that level is pretty likely here. And if you really pull this across, you're seeing on left head, right shoulder with one move that took out some stuff there, but left head, right shoulder possible. If you ignore this, it technically was violated, okay? So this isn't like a great head and shoulders, and a lot of people would say it's not even there. But what you're seeing is a 2-hour curl up by the center line. If the daily is able to curl up again, you will see another upside move, and you piled up in this area, so you have to be careful with it. You do have divergence. That is pretty major divergence here, so we want to maybe look at weekly charts, all right? That has not crossed down yet. Okay, once that weekly chart crosses down though, you might be in some pain. like some real pain. Like you might see, holy crap, you might see a lot of this given up. It's highly doubtful to do possibly this that quickly, but maybe the first point to pay attention to is like $78. We can drop down into $78. That would be a good pullback for the weekly. Then we come down into about $78, and then we see that thing turn back up. And then we see the next upside move as this gets by the center line. Yeah, I actually don't mind it. It's just the earnings. It really looks like it's going to vomit at some point. I just want to make sure earnings is like a little bit further off. 22nd of April. Okay, it's a little further off, so that's kind of a good thing. These things can all play out, and then by April, you actually could see more upside. What about the services PMI final? Well, look, we just want to see those reactions. Meta already heading up to the weekly expected move. Meta hitting it as of right now. Just so you are aware. All right, Meta, you can chill out now, dude. Like chill out. We get it. We get it. You're pretty strong. Like, we get it. The Qs, yeah, if you go over to the Qs, I mean, there's not much to discuss besides like, hey, we're looking for that 30-minute to pull back, right? We're looking for the 30-minute to possibly pull back. If it doesn't, well, the 2-hour has confirmed here. So for the Qs, the 2-hour is pointing right to that daily expected move. So if this 30-minute is not able to curl down, then that would be the more likely thing to happen. We'll see what happens in 11 minutes now. What are people thinking? People pretty to the call side as of right now for how that's starting off the day. Dollar still dropping off a little bit here, trying to make some kind of floor on the shorter time frames. HGX actually seeing positivity, trying to give it up. HYG seeing positivity, trying to give it up. So we'll see what happens with this going forward. But yeah, the Qs are pretty simple. It's the 2 hours already crossed up. So it's pointing in that upward direction, and you're just looking at the 30-minute in case that needs to back off again to really solidify this as a base. If it doesn't solidify this as a base, that means that it's just wiping this out, right? It's just wiping it out. And I wouldn't be surprised if another flash move happens. Nicole, thank you so much for the $5. I appreciate you, and thank you so much for your first super on the live stream. Give it up for Nicole. Thank you so much, Nicole. You're awesome, and you even put a little dog on there that looks like my dog. My dog looks like a big Shiba Inu. That's my Husky German Shepherd Lab Beagle. Alan, he's a goofball. Such a serious guy sometimes. A little bit worried about Meta with that upward move. Like, get people really excited on Meta. I think that's kind of worrisome, actually. And Nicole, if you have anything you'd like to look at, I'm down to look at that for you real quick. Oh yeah, Richard bringing up Tilray. Tilray. What is that? T-L-R-Y. Meta strong, and I got puts. You're at a weekly expected move. That's where I'm thinking about maybe making a decision. Let's see here. We'll see. As far as this goes with Tilray, what are you noticing? Well, you made the double bottom. That's great. You can see that on the RSI. You see the 30-minute produced. The 30-minute actually crossed up. Really, just like these two bars probably helped you make a decision. And then you were just seeing if you had to manage the trade. And then you're looking at a 2-hour, hoping there's divergence there. I haven't looked at this in a little bit. You do have it, though. You have it on the RSI, not necessarily on the MACD at the same time, right? Kind of flat, even down a little bit. But you do have it, so if this can curl up a daily chart, that would be great. Why would the daily chart curling up be a great thing? Well, because you have daily divergence as well. I assume that's why you're looking at this particular stock. You have to be aware that this kind of moment can happen again. Notice you saw some good upside for a moment, then it all got given up. Then you made that divergence point in the near price action. But you are holding that divergence point across. Even the second one, sorry. You're even holding that one, and then you created your own. So this does have some good probabilities to see a good reaction here. Just be aware if that needs to double dip. But if this can just push and go positive and nothing bad happens, hey, Tilray might be popping off a little bit. We'll see what happens. Just got to make sure, like in this environment, you want to be managing trades. You want to be managing risk a lot, right? All right, 653, starting to see some downside activity for the SPY at this moment. Who the heck did something? N2, thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate you being here. He checks Max Payne again on the SPY, or how to read Max Payne. I don't read Max Payne in that I'm like, oh, Max Payne is what I'm paying attention to. Right now I have the expiration for Friday up for the SPY. I'm not reading into this number right here. I don't give a shit about this number right here, to be totally honest. I do not care. What I care about are, where are the sellers? Where are the buyers? Like, kind of, where is the support? Where do people gravitating to? Well, they're gravitating to 590 very seriously and 595. Okay, so if this curls down, I can pay attention to 595, right? That would take us out of a daily expected move today. And I can pay attention to all the way down towards 590, right? That shows us that there might be a put wall there, right? And then the call wall 607, right? Just up here towards this area. So you do have a put wall at the weekly expected move. You have a call wall today at around the, I would say more around the daily expected move. It's kind of past it. So this means what? Well, if I look into today's data, which today is the 5th, then really the biggest ones, and 595 is not that big, but we'd pay attention to it, but 590, right? So you're seeing again, the bigger point to pay attention to is going to be 590 again, but 595 is there. So we're paying attention to those levels, even though they're outside of our moves, and we do have a weekly expected move right by it. So I would really like a tag of 590, and then that would be a good way to show us, like, are you going to be a strong base, right? Are you going to see the buyers step in with a dramatic thing down, right? That's what I'd be really watching in this time. The 30-minute for volatility is still showing the divergence on the MACD, not on the RSI at the same time, but it is producing right now. It's trying to see that next move. We'll see what happens. Just staring at the SPY and going, where's the opportunity? If this does drop down and curl back up, where would the opportunity be? I believe that one of those opportunities might be Apple. I think if Apple drops below this low one more time and you see that curl up, I think Apple's going to solidify this as a right shoulder and you're going to see upside. That's what I think, but it doesn't mean that I can't be wrong. So I'm still paying attention to how I could be wrong, okay? I always am paying attention to that, because I don't want to lose more money than I have to if things are going wrong. Very simple concept, isn't it? Very simple concept. From that data, we are noticing as of right now, it will come out in about 5 minutes, and we'll see if this gets a reaction in the 10-year yield. And then I'm going to put this over on volatility just to see what's going on here. Looks like to me some interesting things happening. Meta went directly up to the weekly expected move, just directly up to it, and then started to see that resistance pop up. Very nice. Who the heck did something? Cuckoos, $5. Okay, BBAI. Do you think it will hold above $5 till the end of the month? Let's go check it out. Let's see if this thing's showing any forms of weakness on, say, a 2-hour chart then, right? Do I think it'll hold above $5? Well, for the entire month, bro, you got 25 days left. There's a lot of things that can happen with this first. I think this is a great sign. I think this is a great sign that you're seeing continued positivity, but I wouldn't be confident at all to say, like, oh yeah, for sure, this can hold above $5. All this has to do is wiggle down and it's not holding $5, right? So if I look at a 2-hour and I see that's up there, am I worried that this is going to crash down? Or am I more looking for, hey, this is very positive, right? It's overbought, so maybe that pulls back down to $5 or even down a little bit deeper. But if you can hold support there and then curl up, you would stay in that extended upside kind of bullish look for, or a bullish trend, if you will, for a bit of time. And then you just want to watch out for reversal signals, right? If you see reversal signals and that looks like it's anywhere near $5, right? If we just do this and it double tops or something like that, well, then by the end of the month, you can end up at lower prices. So I wouldn't be confident to say this has to hold above $5. I'd be more confident in saying, yeah, this thing looks decent, right? You've really seen a great breakout moment here for your 2-hour. The 2-hour is very positive, so continuing a positive trend is the most probable thing right now. But you have to be aware if that's going wrong or if it has a sell signal. Thank you so much for that, Cuckoos. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for that $5. And I hope that that's helpful, but it's just, if I'm wanting something to stay above a certain level for the entire month, and then I see a sell signal, say, halfway through the month, then I'm going to be worried about that, right? That should worry you in some way. If I have calls and I see a reversal signal that looks like I should almost be taking puts, it's going to make you have to react in some way. It's going to make you feel a type of way. So I just pay attention to it very closely and be like, okay, it looks good right now. Does it remain good? Does nothing go wrong? SPY and Apple rejections. Yeah, looking for the Apple trade. Honestly, I am in no way. I'm fearful for Apple, right? It's in a dangerous little setup, but it's giving such a nice look on its MACD and RSI that I just can't hate it right now. And I think it's very likely to show you that reversal signal soon. We'll see. Right, you're at a weekly expected move. If you see divergence, hey, I'll probably be taking Apple. But it's just, is Apple going to go through something bad? Because we have things like Meta and Amazon still sitting at high levels. And NVIDIA did prove the reversal signal. The top could be, technically, the top could be in if we just get this daily confirmation, right? This daily confirmation is really all we need, and that adds some big probabilities too. Hey, we're still positive. That's the only thing that's really holding you here. You do have divergence, so this could be it, right? That could be it, and you could correct all the way back down to 579, right? You correct even deeper than that, right? We could fool around in here, and then by the end of the month, right, if we see something rapid, fool around in here, and then by the end of the month, end up crossing back up. So we'll see what happens, but this adds more probabilities to like, oh, this could get ugly fast, so watch out. But we're still going to pay attention to if it makes reversal signals. So yeah, you're in a dangerous spot right now. Do I think it ends right now? I think we got to see how this week ends, to be totally honest. And that's why we're kind of waiting to put out the monthly update video. 22, 21. I'm just trying to manage a call. I kind of want to see this. I don't think there's really like a management of trade going on there as of right now. Looks like we did get some data out. PMI came out at 52.8, expected to come in at 54.3 or 54, came down a little bit, seeing initially a little positive reaction. Usually you want to give that a couple of hours, let's just be real. But so far, we had red. Now we're seeing a little bit of green. We'll see if this can curl down. I like double dips, remember? I like double dips. VIX is moving, but you see it hasn't crossed or anything. It hasn't gotten confirmations. Confirmations are going to be very important. Unless you're martial law. Oh wait, it is martial law saying that. Martial law's like, I just buy volatility when low, I sell when high, I short when high. Sorry, martial law, I don't want to offend you. You buy volatility when it's low, and then you short it when it's high. That's martial law's game, man. We need a whole channel based on volatility on YouTube from martial law. Take a chug of your coffee real quick. Do it. Do it. You're going to feel good. Trust me. Take a sip of your coffee. Just let them sit and be crazy for the morning. Take a sip of coffee. Call it good. Yeah, Meta going directly up to that move. Someone did ask about SoFi. I wanted to go look at that. SoFi looks interesting to me, not gonna lie. I wanted to check a weekly move for it though, because we do have SoFi weekly expected moves. Okay. Once we go over to SoFi, there it is. Yeah, SoFi with some interesting signals here. Potential for divergences. I mean, you don't necessarily want to include this one, but if you actually include this point right here, do you still have it? Not necessarily. So the only thing for SoFi though is the 2 hours showing that divergence very well between these lows. So it's probably popping up on an hourly chart. So the hourly is your friend here, I think. And this is saying, hey, if I can take back the 9, take back the 5, I might start some kind of uptrend move. This is where we would want to see this thing get to here, back off, and then turn back up. Kind of like cup and handle, kind of like a head and shoulders almost. Maybe it's a little slanted, but this would be nice for SoFi. This is just something I was looking at. Palantir, obviously that happened. Gold seeing dramatic upside. Now that makes total sense because the dollar is dropping off pretty rapidly. Let's see if we saw any changes from the dollar with that data. We really didn't, right? We really did not see any change from the dollar here at this moment. The 10-year yield's dropping off even harder, so TLT is really ramping up here. This means that the SPY, ooh, maybe we're seeing people fly into bonds for some reason and come out of those stocks. We'll see what happens. Because technically, if HYG likes it, HYG likes it. If HGX likes it, if XLU likes it, you know, technically it's like, this isn't necessarily the correct, as of how it has been behaving over the last few months, this isn't the same type of move we've seen. We've seen a lot of the times when actually TLT, HYG, and HGX and XLU are starting to reverse around, we see the SPY following. We don't see that right now. We actually see almost a confirmation right here on your RSI, on the price action, that downside is the most likely option. Look at this little lip here too if we want to head lower, right? If we react to here, we make that little lip, you could have a little tiny head and shoulders. So right now we're going to pay attention for downside now, right? And really, I would like this thing to get to 590, but I don't know if that's possible today. My thoughts for Meta are people are getting way too excited, and I think people are buying a major top. Or at least I'm sorry, not a major top, a trend top. I think you're going to see a decent sized pullback there, one of the first decent sized pullbacks in that move that you're going to see. And I think that that's going to prove to be positivity later on, but I think people are going to get trapped at a top at any moment for Meta. I mean, if we just look at Meta and we go, okay, this thing has tons of divergence. It's really, really high up there. The 2 hour keeps saying pullback. We haven't violated the divergence point for the 2 hour that we need to. Now it's hit a weekly expected move almost exactly on the wick, right? We might talk about this, but we might talk about this on Patreon. But if we were on Patreon, we have other charts up. You'd see a pretty purple line right up here in this area, and we went and tagged that. Now we're dropping off from it. Can this close below the 5, right? That's the only different thing. You never got that closing below the 5 this whole time. And this is why I'm saying eventually this is most likely going to see a throw up moment, and then someone's going to catch it. That's what it looks like to me. But it's like calling when that throw up moment's going to happen. A little bit rough. I mean, I'd be paying attention right now. Once you start to hit that weekly expected move and have the reversal signals, that's when I start to pay attention. So I've started to pay attention to Meta in these little moves in here. Right, I try to ignore it while it's squeezing for the most part. Just point out, hey, there's weakness forming. And then if that weakness starts to get closer to the center line, that's when I pay attention. And you look at this 30-minute and you're going, wow, it's right there. It did violate some stuff, but it's right there. So it's a cool one. I'm still looking at it, and I think it's going to give it up eventually, but that's the point. It's like, if I say it's going to give it up eventually, what time is eventually? What day is eventually? It's just too hard to call. We're doing Patreon, but where is the chart at? Well, the charts, we don't put up chart. We haven't put up the update video for this week, right? I'm trying to see how this thing really shapes up. I like to give out my Patreon video when I see a lot of good things at the same time. So like today might be one of those days, right? If we're seeing something from Apple, if we're seeing something from the SPY and the Qs. Stronger than the rest and building a new end phase position. Yeah, I think NVIDIA has a good reversal signal. Just got to see if it goes wrong now, right? It's just like management of the trade. Seeing volatility, try to go positive here as well. Yeah, HQ, if you look though, pinned to the top of Patreon is like a list, like a chart or like a spreadsheet. Those are your top side in green and your downside moves in red. Okay? So if you want to get the meta lines on there, just go find meta in the list, and then you have the exact numbers for the top side move and the downside move, and then you put those, if you want to, you can do it just like me and put them in purple. That way you know we're both on the same page. That way purple never confuses you. I love this website. I know you do, martial law, and that's awesome. You're like, oh, I can just buy volatility when it's in pullback mode, and then I can sell volatility or take a short on volatility when it gets to overbought conditions. I mean, it's worked a lot lately. But I'm trying to find the good trade, the really good trade. And I think Apple has a good shot to be that trade. It's just Meta is just looking like that thing needs to vomit for a sec, and I'm like, a lot of people are probably bullish on Meta. I wonder how many people are bullish on Apple. So I might actually check that real quick. I'm going to check Apple options. just to see what people are thinking for it. Because this could tell me a lot about the calls. Yeah, a lot of calls on Meta this week. 0.56 for the put to call ratio. For Meta, we kind of want to see high calls. And you have 0.84, not like the most calls in the world, but most of the big bets are it's going to be above 700 by the end of the week. And then the only big bet you really have is 650 or maybe 690. So for the put side, that is. So if you give up 700, you might run into some bumps on the way, but Meta 700, you give that up, kind of a problem. Oh, I still have this up over here. Hold on. And you just went to a weekly expected move, so I like Microsoft. Let's go check out Microsoft. That's one that we like to pay attention to. Microsoft, interesting on the 2 hour, right? Interesting on the 2 hour because I want to see if this makes a base later on, right? Just like the last time, I really like the way it made this, right? We talked about this, and then we talked about the little 30-minute divergence in here to really give you that hint in here before the 2 hour crossed up. And look at that move. It's fantastic. It even extended one more time, made the double top. Did this overall play out yet? Well, what if I'm looking for something like this right over here, right? That would be fantastic. Okay, you see a rip, right? We have like 30-minute weakness or something like that, and then you pop up, and then you pop back down, and then you just go like this, and you're like, okay. And you're aware of how that could be bad, but if that shows you the reversal signal, that means you're gonna get a pop here, not a drop. Then you gotta make sure everything stays good, right? We're still managing risk all the time. And Google, bad stuff there. AVGO, weren't you interesting? AVGO able to take it back. Like this is a great little swing up after testing the 5. Right, you come down in the 5 for all these little wicks and stuff, and then you see that big bounce up, but you just crossed up into positive here, and you really held pretty damn well to scoop that up again. Only thing I'm worried about is you're really holding it very tight here for this little channel. It's very slanted, so I'm aware that the 2 hour could still cross down, actually. That'd be the only thing I really would react to at this point. Kind of sitting in no man's land with these gaps. What's Netflix been doing? I haven't looked at Netflix in a while. Look at that thing. All right, Netflix. Daily divergence is there. Not the best sign. 2 hour squeeze signal there. This is going to be very difficult to find out when it's going to drop, but it looks like if that daily divergence holds, it's going to experience one. All right, not too much to look at just yet. Just chilling on it. Everyone's in calls. We pulling back. I mean, not everyone in calls. I mean, there are some, it's kind of in the middle, right, according to the CPC. The only other thing I would say is if the dollar could reverse back around, that would be more of a hint. If like HYG starts to give it up, HGX starts to give it up, XLU, we get some hints over here, which XLU just more looks like a 2 hour trying to flag. Really trying to, but seeing some volatility there. This is where I just think, you know, if things aren't clear, I just don't trade. That's just how I do it. Oh my goodness. There is no daily expected move for NVIDIA. I need an expiration to make an expected move. So we have weekly expected moves, and we will have daily expected moves for Friday, right? We put those out Thursday night, but you can't make one for today for NVIDIA. It does not have an expiration. Some, you know, some platforms may have one. I don't know if I trust that too much, but take it with a grain of salt, I would say. You know, it's all right, Christina. It happens to me too. Like sometimes I'll even click all the way in and record the number and be like, I need to make a daily expected move for this. I just took a trade or something. Then I'll be like, what the fuck? What am I doing? It's Tuesday. You know, so it's not a big deal. Rejections at the fib retracements. What which fib are you at? I guess I can measure it out, but I'm lazy. But yeah, for me, it's the 5, right? We're saying the same thing, just in 2 different ways. What was I doing? What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was gonna look at Siri for Robert real quick, because there's a few people that have mentioned Siri today. Siri, I'd be a little bit skeptical for this one. Is earnings coming up? Oh, thank the Lord. Okay, so what this looks like to me is gonna be a 2-hour pullback. This looks like a 2-hour pullback to me at this point. That's a very strong move from the 2 hours. So you'd say it this way though. It doesn't mean something bad can't happen. It means that the most probable thing right now is this is going to back off and maybe retest something like 2350, maybe go all the way down and retest something like 2260, right? So we could see that, but really it's just, it looks like that is very high up. So you wouldn't really want to be saying like crash, crash, crash. It's done a lot of good things, right? It's come up, created the higher low, come up again. That's fantastic. As of right now, the reason I'm saying that is you have potential for 30-minute divergence to confirm like now. And so you could be getting into that pullback mode pretty quick here. I wish I had a weekly expected move or something like that, but you do see the divergences forming. Does it mean it's going to be a great short? Because I mean, this is a 2-hour positive move, and this could just like, move sideways, right? This could just move slightly down and then turn up. So shorting might be a little difficult, but hey, you can do anything, as long as you're pretty confident and accountable. I think you're pretty good with it. And then, yeah, but there is 30-minute divergence here. You see that plain and simple on your MACD, plain and simple on your RSI. So you got to be a little bit hesitant. It's kind of like this. If I had calls here, this would be something that convinces me when I take a trade. If I start to see this, I just go, I'm going to take a lot off the table. That's what I say. I might leave the runners in case something crazy happens, like 1, maybe 2. Series not the most expensive thing, so maybe you hold more than 2, but it's just, it's a sell signal, okay? It is, and if that confirms down, then I'd be going, okay, I need to take profit in case there's a 2-hour pullback if I'm in calls. Okay, peek at the daily and the week. I'm talking more about the 2-hour and stuff. You could get a 2-hour pullback soon. The daily chart's going positive. I mean, that's a good thing, right? Just know there's going to be 2-hour pullbacks. There's always 2-hour pullbacks in daily charts and things like that. So we'll see what happens with that. The daily, I don't necessarily think that's divergence, but it's a great higher low that you could almost consider as good as a divergence, which is very nice. And that's really created the floor. You've taken out the top level. So if you want to say double bottom in some way, you could see that produce all the way up to something like probably 27 at this point, right? So we're watching it. If you look at the weekly scale, this is where weekly divergence looks very likely with these lows. It looks likely on the RSI, and it's there on your MACD. So this says, this is potentially a good investment, actually. That's what this is saying. It says, for me, when I look at a weekly chart, I'm thinking investment. I'm not necessarily thinking a 2-month trade, right? I'm more thinking investment, maybe leaps if you want to do something, but it's just like, hey, that weekly looks very, very nice, and it looks like that is going to turn up a monthly chart very soon. It's a very negative monthly chart, but I want you to look at the last time it was negative. Monthly charts don't matter as much, and you can really see a lot of time to react to things if you want, right? There's a weekly pullback in here. You pull back on the weekly, then you get back in on the weekly, then you pull back on the weekly, then you get back in on the weekly with a little cup and handle in here. Produces upside. So monthly charts are good. You're seeing the divergence hold on the monthly chart. That's even better, and it's not even as crazy as last time. So I kind of like it. Last time you had monthly divergence was here, and you were very negative. And so look what happened. Bam, and then you made like the lower high right there. So this just means, monthly could curl up. Make sure nothing goes wrong until then, but I like those signals. Thank you for pointing it out. I think if you're long in it though, you just got to know like, hey, I could experience 2-hour pullbacks all the time. I could experience 2-hour pullbacks all the time. Sideways, up, down, more like breakout. I think it still potentially makes the head and shoulders play. Yeah, seems all right so far. Still paying attention to the bullish side as well. That's it. No response. From what? Is there something you wanted to look at, Bexon? Sorry about that. I'm not trying to skip anyone or anything like that. You just got to know I'm looking at stuff constantly. I'm even looking at charts on my other side, looking if Meta's going to cross down here and fake everyone out. as it hits a weekly expected move, you start to pay attention even more. SPY feels kind of like something bad could be looming, but is it really going to be? People going to the call side, dollar still dropping off. Like, this is not bearish by any means. WBA, yeah, we've looked at this one before as well. Walgreens. I don't mind this either, right? This is a decent looking floor. Can we take back the 5 from this? This is where it's like, hey, I should potentially maybe manage to trade in here, but I should be in this already for the most part if I'm seeing a bar like this. So 979 looks like the next re-entry there. And then you're looking for 2 hours, and does that have good signals? This could just be a 2-hour move higher to get rejected though, because you're really deep down here. So this could be a 2-hour that, you know, pops up like this, then rejects, then comes all the way down, fills this gap, then you see a 2-hour divergence, and that would convince me more. If it wants to see good positivity, then I'd expect it to get to these type of levels and then give you that higher low. Yeah, I don't mind that though. Daily by the center line. So that's the thing. If this wants to produce positivity and create those higher lows, hey, that's awesome. Just the daily might confirm up. Then you can potentially, I would say, test this, or make a new one. I just don't know if you want to fill that gap first with some kind of 2-hour divergence. Your 2 hours pretty low. So it's kind of like, hey, if I can always take a chance with it, and then if something goes wrong, I'll react. If something goes right and then wants to turn down and retest the 5, I'm kind of fine with that. Yeah, Bexon, thank you for asking. Thanks for being patient, buddy. That's true, Richard. It takes time, doesn't it? Hey, that's okay. That's okay. She had something happen today, or maybe it was yesterday in the morning. She had something happen, and she goes, I thought of Toby. And I was like, oh, dang it. It's always sad. But no, Richard, appreciate it. Practice that patience. You know, it's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to do. I'm trying to be patient when meta's looking like that. Like, I have the urge to short it too. Like, don't think I'm not a human being. It's just, I have a little bit of control of my fingies. Not going over, my wife still cries every day. Yeah, it's a sad thing, man. I mean, she's been through a lot, and he's always been there. He's been the little guy, little happy guy all the time. I'm just not one of those people that tries to keep the dog alive no matter what. Like, if I think they're suffering and their quality of life is really going downhill fast, I'm like, I can't do it. It hurts me even more, you know, to do something like that. Yeah, sometimes it's like that. It's because your dog's your main man, right? Man's best friend. Do you ever think about getting a cat just to like see what kind of cat you would raise? Because all the cats, or the cat that I had growing up as a kid, he really liked me, but he was an ass. He was a jerk. He was a jerk, man. But I loved him for it. He was like such a jerk, and it was awesome. Which is probably why he continued to be a jerk, was because I loved it. But yeah, cats are funny. I want to see what kind of cat I would raise, if he's like some kind of snuggler or something. As far as Intel goes, we're still looking at the 2-hour divergence and seeing if this thing can get the upward move. Now, this most likely will need a pullback before this goes positive. And I think you have a great area where that pullback can happen. Do you see the support, the try, the attempts? Do you see where the gap is, right? That's kind of important. So you would say, if I can break through this, right, you're kind of seeing probably a little zone in here somewhere where something's interesting. And if I can get to that level and then see us pile up there and then turn back through, that would be pretty good, right? We would try to be breaking through that, then we'd continue that uptrend move for Intel. That's overall how I see it now, but I think because of the positioning, you're gonna need one of those pullback kind of moments to go higher. Or you might need to make a stronger floor. If you can't get there for the test, you just do this, it's like kind of weak, and then it does that. We'd be kind of looking for things like that. I think it has the ability to turn around, but it's going to need to still build up over time with pullbacks. Unless you get lucky and that thing just rips, but... Is there an earnings? It just had earnings? Okay, good. Daily chart, daily divergence might be there, but I think you're more so, your MACD is going to read this more as a, weirdly enough, this is going to read more as a higher low on your MACD. It's not necessarily, I don't think it necessarily like is a solid higher low or anything like that, but it is according to your MACD and according to your RSI, especially if that would turn up. So if the daily can turn up, it means a reaction to higher levels is possible. That's where the shorter time frames might need to do some work. But eventually you could end up with a test here, a test of the real support that became resistance, right? Resistance became support here, support, 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 support. And then you cross through that, you keep flushing, and then you come up to that level and you go, okay, we're gonna break through, oh, trap. Okay, so this is what you gotta take out. This is what you gotta take out right there. I would say I would hold a line right here at right around 22. I just have 22. You gotta take back 22. To really be happy with it. Because if you do this and you fail, I mean, there's always a bullish and bearish way. So there's just a lot of scenarios for Intel, I think. Left head, right shoulder, you got to be aware if that's failing, right? Even with the structure, the patterns going on here, you got to be aware. This guy running? Big Bear! Let's go, Big Bear. I'm sorry about that. Hold on one second. Goku's asked about B-Buy. I'm gonna call it B-Buy. All right, so for this one again, I mean, rapid upward move, great upward move, great big moves turning into medium moves, turning into small moves, turning into a big move. That's pretty great, almost like a cup and handle in here. If you want to call it head and shoulders, just kind of wonky, but very, very nice. And you're seeing that produce. So it's kind of like, are we done? It's kind of like right away, you're like, are we kind of finished now? Like, what's going on here? Are we done? And you're kind of going, we're kind of getting there right now. So this doesn't mean it's bearish. It just means, hey, pullbacks might be the next opportunity, right? 2-hour pullback is what we're overall looking at from this. But great upward move. Not even with earnings. So got some time till earnings. Are they like trying to get people bearish? Like, what are they trying to do here? I gotta figure out what they're trying to do here today. No, we haven't really discussed IWM too much. I mean, we discussed it a little bit. And the way we discussed it was, remember, left head, what if we make a right shoulder, right? And that right shoulder could look a lot like the last time, right? It could look something like this. It could look something like all of this, right? Left head, right shoulder. It could take a long time. Overall for this, though, I'd like to see that 2-hour get that extension up, then see that maybe pull back. Like, even if we kept staying sideways for a little bit, I want to see this thing drift higher, and then drift higher, and then maybe just do this and curl right back up. You're really just looking for this, I think, and it might take some time to figure that out. So this one, not simple yet, in my opinion. Not simple yet. But it could just break through. Like, we'll see if that breaks through. I just think 229.89 might hold as some resistance there. Go check some things real quick for IWM. Yeah, this is saying, like, you could end up higher. You could end up testing in these levels up here this week. And this is not the correct move. Move that away. That's not the correct move. But, yeah, you could extend through that right now, and it would make sense. So there's just multiple things that can happen there. I think a head and shoulders would be the best way to head higher. Just because I think that doesn't mean it's true, though, right? The 2 hours confirmed up, so we can break through resistance with the 2-hour curl up. Jim Cramer just said Nvidia only game in town, LMAO cooked. Well, sometimes this is actually how Jim Cramer works a lot of the time, because I used to pay attention to that a lot. He's usually right for a couple days, up to a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, but it's overall like a month later. It's kind of like, it's not as good as the Meet Kevin indicator, let's put it that way. The Meet Kevin indicator is like, oh, he says it's going up, within 5 days it's going to start going down. Like, that happened a lot to his picks. So I thought that was interesting, but Jim Cramer can be right for a month and then totally wrong a month later. So it's more like this. Jim Cramer gets bullish on something, watch for reversal signals in the next month. That's what you would say. As far as Tesla goes, I mean, Tesla, we're going to see if this can make that quick little divergence, right? We're still seeing if that can happen. If that divergence doesn't prove, this could just be down, right? These are not good things. We could see this head and shoulders playing out, and we could head down to 357 pretty quick. We could head past that, right? We could head to some gap fills at 345. We could head to a gap fill down at 320. Like, this is a pretty decent size head and shoulders that could launch you down further than you expect. So 357.78 still what I'm paying attention to right now. I'm seeing if the daily can cross up. We haven't seen that cross up yet. We're slowing down the momentum. The 2 hour is showing divergence. We're still holding that divergence. Now we're looking if the 30-minute wants to say, yeah, let's give them one more fake out. Let's give them a double dip, fake them out, react to the 5, fake them out, and then curl right back up. That would be the bullish thing, I think, at this point. You want to solidify strong base. If you don't solidify by seeing that cross back up, or it crosses up and fails right away, you could end up going lower. That's really the only thing to pay attention to there is, does the daily cross up, like, honestly, or does it create 30-minute divergence if I'm a little tighter? Of course, Jess. Don't buy buy Palantir instead. His timing on things are insane. It's like when something is obviously bullish, like obviously just had a big bullish move, he's like, buy Palantir, and then the next day you're down 2%. I mean, he's like, buy Palantir. Oh, already down. Why didn't he say that here? Why didn't he say it right before the earnings? Why didn't he say it over here? Why didn't he say it all the way back here? It's just kind of down here. He's like, Palantir might be dead. Oh yeah, buy Palantir. Palantir might be dead. See, I told you Palantir was dead. Like, see, when he's like doubles down, that's even a bigger signal. So his timing's always off because, one, it's always late, and two, because he's always like just telling you what happened that day pretty much. He bases his buy and sell off of like, hey, is it looking good now? Does it look fantastic right now? Technically, the better times to buy stocks are when they don't really look fantastic at all, right? When no one's paying attention to them. All right, 30-minute, come on, do your thing. Right? It's like, when did everyone start buying Bitcoin? 100K. When did no one want to buy Bitcoin? Well, like $50, $250, $1,000, $2,500, $10,000. Now at 100K, everyone's going, yeah, we got to buy that thing. Well, my thing with Jim Cramer, I'm going to tell you exactly what Jim Cramer does, because I seriously looked into this. For Jim Cramer. And I think he gives false information or incorrect information on purpose. I'm going to tell you a very simple reason why. You know that he has an investment firm, right? You can invest in his Jim Cramer like portfolio. Do you know you can do that? You guys know you can do that, right? Like he has a platform where you can go invest in it. And it's always doing a little bit worse than like the S&P 500 or something, but it still is positive. So what's happening is he's going online, he's telling you something to buy, and then he's going to potentially maybe even, and I think a lot of people do this, he's potentially even going to convince you to take a loss, and then he's going to tell you, well, look at our investment firm, we're up for the last month. So are you down for the last month? Oh, maybe you should go into our firm. So I think he's doing different decisions in his investment firm or whatever the heck he's doing, whatever his thing is. I think he's doing different things there. And I also think he's trading some of that money on the side, like, to be honest, because I think the last time I looked, it didn't have the biggest numbers every year. But it's a way for him to be like, oh yeah, this is great. You should only be in this. And then you buy it, it goes down, and then you watch him again and he says, well, this is why, part of the street, look how good we're doing. And then he shows you how good you're doing. So when you're in a state of like, oh, I just lost money. Oh, I could just put my money into this and not worry about it, and it will be good. It will be better than what I'm doing now. And I think that's the game there. Exactly, Ephesians, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a scenario of why he talks a certain way, but I think his little investment thing moves differently. Yeah, see, Sub-Zero is just like, look, guys, let me just give you the thing that everyone knows. We know he does it, but that's how I've read into it a lot. I used to watch him just for fun. Like, I used to just watch him for fun because I was like, I want to see what he's saying. And then stocks that I literally would be like, oh, I think I'm going to take a short on this. He would be shouting out saying like, oh, you got to buy Apple. And then Apple's down like 2 weeks later. Yeah, I don't really trust that guy too much. Oh, I think he's such a meme now that it's fun to pay attention to, but good coffee, good coffee. Is IVVD doing some stuff yet? Oof. See, a 30-minute pullback might be all you get. See, it's kind of sideways. See if that 5 catches up. 2 hours very positive as well, so I think you probably see a 30-minute divergence first before this thing even backs off, but like with a more serious pullback. Shady and emotional at the same time. Meet Kevin's a clown. Yeah, maybe after, if Jerome Powell gets fired, maybe I'll put Meet Kevin in the live stream thumbnail with a clown mask. Like I don't like, the thing that's turned me off about that guy is like I've actually seen some breakdown videos of like what he's doing with those like whatever investment things, housing, become a real estate expert, those type of things. Like I saw some sketchy stuff about that, man. I'm just like, hey, I'll put something helpful out, and then you got to make right decisions, but it can really give you a boost. He's like, buy this and get rich now, and then in the terms of service, it's like, yeah, we don't have to assume any risk. You assume all the risk, and yeah, if we're wrong, then you can't sue us. Like that's in there. It's like crazy. Still bullish falling wedge? I don't know about that one. The signals look pretty bad for AMD now. I'm not saying you can't get a reaction here in some way. I wonder if the moves caught this in any way. Yeah, the move called this to almost to a T. You still have more you could drop, actually. That's the crazy part. And then, yeah, you have more you could drop here. You could drop like 7 points lower this week and it would still make sense. I'm looking at a monthly expected move and I'm like, you can go down below $100 for AMD and it makes sense. Falling wedge, I've never really drawn a falling wedge here. Right, I've never even put up that falling wedge really. Because I don't think this looks right to me at all. I really don't think this looks very good. I mean, obviously you'd be kind of crazy to say this looks good, but you're also going, hey, this looks like potential, but you ran into earnings, so you needed to buy up and see this, you know, see a move before earnings and then be able to tank earnings and then continue in the upward direction. But you just never saw positivity. This is why I've hated trading AMD for the last pretty much a year, right? I traded it at the beginning of the year a few times. Too many, you can find those good moves. It's just too many times you have to manage risk with my type of strategy, right? But if I didn't manage risk in those times, I would have lost more money. So it's just I think AMD's been down for a long time, and I stopped trying to do options with this a long time ago. We still talk about it though. I don't think it's like an awful company or anything like that. I mean, look, I mean, you can't say it's an awful company. I mean, look, it's producing green numbers. They might have just said like, we foresee some, they could have mentioned tariffs in the call, and that could be why people sell it off, right? They could be like, yeah, we're a little bit worried about tariffs when it comes to China, blah, 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 something. And that could be why it sold off. So do I think it's like a for sure good little trade setup? I don't think so. You're violating both divergences on the 2 hour. This is not a good look. You need more time now to see if it can base out. As of right now, it looks like the 2 hour is not confirmed. The 30-minute has not confirmed downside either. So you're still in the same state you were at the open, pretty much. Vix, what did you end up doing? I wouldn't mind you filling. Did you fill? You need to go fill, dude. Go fill that gap, and then we'll talk. Go fill the gap, and then we'll talk about it. IWM really taking it back. That's super nice. Actually, let me zoom out on this so you guys can see a little bit more. And then let's go here, look at this for a moment. Okay. Wait, like this. $90 for longer term. I'm pretty sure it goes below $100. Max pain should be 80, but in a year or two, should be a good investment. Yeah, and I think that's how you look at it. I don't think they're reporting bad numbers. I just don't think insiders are like excited to, they might be excited to buy it actually. We can go check. We can go look if anyone's been buying AMD lately. We can go look. Now it looks like all sell orders for AMD, and that's the problem about right now. Every stock that like people talk about, every single stock that people like to talk about that are big, you know, at least decent size cap, they're all full of just sell orders from insiders, which I think adds some credibility to the risks going into 2025. You can see insiders are known to get out like the first big wave. They get out pretty early, so it can continue in the upward direction. But it's just like, dude, everyone's selling almost everything that's a popular name that has decent cap to it. Exxon, yeah, we can go look at that. Exxon has earnings, doesn't it? I want to be careful with it. Okay, there it was. Okay, good. We already got that. Oh, this is great, right? This is a lot of things that we've talked about today, right? Reacting like IWM, react to that key level. Give me that right shoulder right now. Give me that retest of the 5 right now. Give me this, and then turn up. That would create so many reasons for this to keep going positive on the 2 hour, right? And not gonna cross back down. This is great. You've taken back the 5 strength, great. Now we're looking for, can that retest? I would love a retest, even if it takes a long time and does this and then goes like that. I would love it. Looking for this on the MACD, looking for this on the RSI. Very, very nice. Daily scale. Daily scale is trying to be a higher low, confirming it as a higher low at this moment, looking for if that fails, right? But for now, this looks pretty damn good. It looks like higher low, and you're about to see some upside. Potentially to go test, you're already there, you're already here, you're probably going to go up towards this level right here, 117. If you can take this out, I really like that 117, 117.50 level. Somewhere in this box at least. Because if you pull that across, you even pull it from the top here, you start to see like a lot of wonky things happen up in these areas. Some resistance coming in that almost zone, right? We'd maybe create it as a zone. You're just going, okay, we build up. Oh, we sell off. Oh, we break through. Once we break through, we see positivity. Hey, we try to hold up at the top. We drop to the bottom, get a reaction, fail it again, try to use it as... It's just proving, I'm just trying to show you how like this looks like an okay zone to get to. So I'd be looking anywhere from, what is this, 115, probably this low down here, 115, all the way up to 118.50. That'd be my little zone. I like it. This might be like, hey, the right timing for this to see a run, see some kind of chop run, see some kind of run like this. Do I think it's like the best option play? To be determined. You probably have to take some pretty long out options. If you're trading it back and forth on like say a 2 hour, well, you're looking for this level here to get tagged. So you might be waiting for that 30-minute to pull back and then cross up, and then you have a good shot to go attempt to get to 112. I would say in the next couple of weeks if we can confirm all this stuff. Yeah, we'll go look at Oxy as well. We talk about oil plays. Yeah, Oxy, very interesting here. Again, probably with Oxy, a little bit more important to pay attention to. Well, it's reacting up to a good level, trying to do a little head and shoulders action, but still a good thing with Oxy as it's at, I believe, lower levels, if I'm correct. Yeah, lower levels, just to look at the insiders, and all you see is Berkshire Hathaway buying all of it. Like still, even in December of 2024, they had another buy of 400 million. Pretty damn big. Actually, their second biggest buy was in December. So very interesting there. That means they're still investing in this. Okay, they're still investing in this. And that's very interesting to me. means this could potentially be a good investment over time. Doesn't mean it can't head lower, and I don't think you have like the best daily signals. I think you're trying to be like, yeah, this is going to be a slightly higher low, but that's about it for this one. 2 hour, you don't have great signals. 30-minute, you don't have great signals, which means options are going to take some time. Got to be patient with those. But investment-wise, I mean, one of the smartest investors of all time is buying a load of it, and it's at a decent price, right? It's really thrown up from these higher levels of 74. Could end up back towards 59 or 61 over time. It's going to take time. Which, if you know it's going to take time, might be more leaning towards investment at that point. What's the 2 hour? No. 2 hours not crossed up yet. I'll look on my other chart, so I'm not clicking back and forth. Sorry, guys. Leaning towards rally from here. Well, the other scenario, and one of the other scenarios is just we see that extend. We see that extend, maybe even further, and then we dip back into this area, then we curl up. It's mainly just like however this wants to pull back and confirm itself as strength, that's how we'll look at it. If it wants to give us a higher low now, if it wants to extend, then give us the higher low. If it wants to extend further, then give us the higher low. We're fine with all of those scenarios. We're just waiting for the moment to react. Yeah, I like it. Had it before, sold now. Now have 30% of what I maybe build out if we go lower. I think that's nice, yeah. So you're looking at that cost averaging kind of action there. I get you. I'm hesitant to be like, oh yeah, Oxy's garbage when this, you know, I'm totally contradicting who's seen to be potentially the best investor of all time. Forming a bottom here. We'll go look at GME in a moment. Let me look at AIQ. I haven't heard of this one, Uniworld, so it piqued my interest. Global Artificial Intelligence. Oh, it's just an ETF. Okay. Well, 30 minutes crossed down. You're still holding the 5. This is pretty good. You're kind of stuck here. You notice how you're stuck here. This isn't a bad thing to be stuck here, by the way. What do you have here? A pretty good top, all right, where bad things happened, all right? That's bad, obviously, but you saw this massive reaction to go test those levels, and you're seeing those levels really get fought at right now. So what do you want to see? Well, we want to see this probably make one more move or hold up here and then curl up, but mainly you just want to see a break. You want to see a break of one of these levels, right? You break to the upside, okay, we might see that continuation. Maybe we see that boom, retest, go again. If you break the downside, you're looking for the opposite, right? And sometimes to the downside, it just experiences a drop, right? You more see the drop and then people buy it and it could build back up, but you would still be open to the retests happening here. So it looks interesting to me. 2 hour, you do have some forms of divergence here, so you would be paying attention, but you're going to see divergence all the time with this type of behavior. So I'm still looking for the break, looking for the break, and does it retest or does it fail, and is it a fake out? You got to be paying attention to those. The daily is curled up, you have daily divergence, so watch out if that downside starts to happen, because if this daily crosses, well, you got divergence on your MACD, you got divergence on your RSI, and that's going to be a problem if you start to drop from here. As of right now, I bet a lot of people are just talking about consolidation to break through, cleanly through these type of levels. Yeah, I don't hate it, but I just know there's risks right now. So you just got to be confident in the direction that it's going, and then maybe you make a decision, and then you sit there and you go, okay, immediately, what is my plan in case this is going wrong? Is it, hey, if a 30-minute crosses down before it gets to this point, then I'm out. You know, those type of things can help you out. Most of them are simple. Yeah, most of them are simple. The ones on your screen, the 9 is an estimate. If you want to look, I mean, you can see that the only EMA I use is the 20. The SMA is in red. That's a 9. Okay, so I use mostly SMAs, and then I'll use a 20 EMA. And then what was it? Was it GM? Yeah, 30-minute would say downside. You've gotten a few confirmations. You're just waiting for the confirmation of the MACD and a solid red bar with it, solid sell bar. Was it GME? You're saying GME trying to make a floor. Well, this is what we were paying attention to. Some kind of divergence down here, and now you're making it. Let's see if that could produce, right? We need the 2 hour to turn back up. This is not the best reversal signal in the world. It's still a reversal signal. It's just not as good as what it could have been if you just curled up right there and saw that go positive. But you notice didn't go positive, curled down. You gotta be reacting when you see these little, you know, 2 hour, okay, well, I'll look at a 30-minute, and if that starts to fail and then starts to, maybe I say, hey, maybe that'll just retest the 5. Once it loses the 5, I got to be like, okay, I'm going to go out. If it ever turns back up, I'll be back in. Never turned back up. So now you have another 30-minute divergence. We'll see what happens with this because it's a rejection divergence. If that can actually confirm, right? We don't see that confirming with the price action just yet. With rejection divergences, very important to, you know, you can put a signal line on your RSI, but very important just to pay attention to price action. Pay attention to if you see that green bar take you above the 9, see if that extends above the 5. If you can see a continued move, that's best case, and then you use the 5 to go higher. And you'd kind of see that, right? You kind of see how that would want to go higher. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. AMC still showing a little, right, just flat, just a flat boy, you know. Damn, AMC today, straight up 0, just flat, flatter than my ex. I tell you, jeez. Meta, right as it hits the weekly expected move, seeing some pulling back, some downside move. We'll see if that's able to confirm some things. Confirming on the RSI already, so Meta very interesting right now. You're seeing that inside. You're seeing that inside kind of bars, right? We saw the down bar. That was saying, hey, this has potential to cross down. We haven't even seen the RSI react back up. Haven't seen the price action do it back up. So this is overall saying like, hey, we could still be bullish, but you're having some reasons start to pile up. Like 597 could get tagged, 595 could get tagged, 590 could all get tagged. So it's going to be important to make sure we're looking at volatility still, seeing if this can confirm up. That will tell us more of a hint. This will tell us more of a hint. And they're at the same time. That's nice. Yeah, if you're seeing weakness in Mag 7, it's like, well, that's pretty much a lot of what's holding you up these days. We saw a little bit of breadth come in during that run back here. But I think you're still in a scenario where, you know, 10 stocks are holding the market up. Wow. Okay, let's flash over to Meta real quick just to show you guys the reaction ever since we hit the weekly expected move. Hit it. Now we come off. So we're seeing that resistance come in. This doesn't mean it has to continue, but that's a pretty good sell there. So we'll see what happens with this going forward. That is a negative 1% bar in 30 minutes. In 21 minutes, technically. Wiping out this. All right, can we wipe out more of that? That's going to be the question here. Just because we tagged a weekly expected move, hey, we might need to see a reversal signal at that area. If you need that weekly expected move up on your chart, hey, you can join Patreon, right? This is still a great time to do it. You're in the first week. You can have monthly expected moves. That way, when we're talking about monthly expected moves, and you know, during the live show or during our videos at night and during the update videos, you kind of have those on your charts already. You're already kind of paying attention to those things. Yeah, Justin, it's kind of like sometimes we just sub out one of those 10 stocks and one takes over for a bit. It's like once one of those suffers, it's kind of like how when Nvidia dramatically goes down, we start to see Apple bounce. Well, when Apple goes dramatically down, we start to see Nvidia bounce. It's kind of like that scenario. But you do technically have a very limited amount of stocks that if they suffered, the market would suffer. Do you watch ETWO? Record needs to break 250. What's this one? Whoa, that's pretty interesting. 30-minute curl up, very nice, very nice. Pulling back with a with time, but seeing some rip around little moves. Able to break through, seeing that positivity. Retest could be on the table here. 2 hour getting kind of overbought, but this thing's running, man. This thing is running. You're seeing that daily confirm up, and this thing can continue to run. Its daily's not even overbought yet. Right here is where you'd like some consolidation, but maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to see it, the job is done, and you see that breakthrough moment, you get another one like these. Another something like this would be nice. Oklo seeing some interesting stuff. What's Oklo? What is Oklo? I don't remember. Producer, manufacturing, industrial machinery. Okay. Is it like kind of like an energy stock, if you will? Nuke power station. Okay. So for this, you have earnings a decent amount off, right? A decent amount off. So this is tradable, I would say, for a couple of weeks. But you're seeing a major positivity right now. So we'll see if this is able to confirm down. I think you're still holding the divergence point in my book, right? Because these things didn't cross down, they're still holding, right, on the MACD, still holding on the RSI. So 30-minute looks pretty good. If it would randomly turn around right now, I'd be a little bit worried. I would hope to have weekly or monthly expected moves for it to just see how people are positioned. But it keeps riding that 5. It's going to keep going up. If you start to lose the 5, that's when you could see a pullback. Electricity for AI. Okay, that makes sense. And Cuckoos, thank you so much for the $3. I appreciate it, bud. Thank you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. What's that say? It says bump fist. All right, I'll bump fist. There you go. Sorry about your ears, guys. Me and Cuckoos had to bump fist. SMR for nuclear. Oh, I like that look right away. That's just a retest of the yeah, and the 2 hours confirming it as well. I mean, you're looking at this and you're going, man, I mean, this is where we piled up last time. We use that as resistance. We curl back down. I mean, if you really want to, you'd kind of look at this and you'd go, hey, we scooped up to a good level. We're seeing that resistance come in. That's great. Now we're going to try to make that attempt to break through this high. You break through that high, very likely to test this one, and this could be a whole new positive trend. That's what this, usually this could be the start of some kind of positive trend here. And you didn't make reversal signals, you experienced a big drop. So we potentially could see reversal signals later on, but right now you're just going, hey, this looks like continuation of the positive trend, confirming in 34 minutes here, or starting. Kind of misspoke there. Really like starting the positive trend, right? This got you out of that sellers, right? Buyers take over, and now you see how those buyers are stepping in. It's very nice. It has no power plant yet? That's kind of weird. Oh, meta. Meta, 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 meta. What are we gonna do about you, my friend? Meta? Okay, but say this about Meta, say all you want, but Meta is so meta right now. Like, Meta's the meta, you know? Meta's so meta. I hated that name change. I thought the Meta name change was kind of funny. What up, Duranto? How you doing? HT looks like the day is about to curl down. Was going to take a short down to 393 or gap fill. So it looks like it's going to gap down for HD. You do have some potential reversal signals. You have a 2 hour that looks like it wants to curl up. I see you have the reversal signal at the high. Hopefully you caught that. I mean, that's a great little reversal signal with a rapid move up. And it's just like, hey, we curled down. All right, positivity. Where's my good curl down? It's actually right here, around 417. Then you kind of just ride that wave for a little while down to, well, where you're really likely to bounce from, which was 409.50, maybe a little lower at 409. So very nice. 2 hour confirms up. Hey, this is good. You're still close enough to positive territory. This could be a whole new trend, actually, because you're so close to positive territory, right? We don't see this way down here or something to where we have to start really saying, I would still be aware of lower high because you are negative in some way, right? Whenever I'm negative, I'm paying attention for that. But this could be a whole new trend, right? This could be a whole new trend. If we could build up to here and see some consolidation, that would be a good thing. Yeah. But if none of that happens, you're still paying attention to the other side, right? The daily looks like it's crossing down, but is it right now? Right now, it's going to maybe experience a cross down as it's building up. So if it builds up and then you see a solid confirmation bar, that's what I'd be looking for. You're just looking for the 2 hour to see the next move and then maybe reject, or maybe a 30-minute to reject here, right? 30-minute, you're still at the 5. Daily could cross down. This could get ugly. It just really looks like to me, and maybe this is the right shoulder, but it really looks like to me we'd want to see some kind of move up to fail first. But 30-minute crosses down, hey, I might be wrong about that. So there's plenty of scenarios there. SPY, still doing SPY things as of right now. Still trying to confuse people, it seems. People going to the call side. Dollar, no real positivity there. 10-year yield, no signs of turning around there. HYG still showing positivity. So these are all good things for the market overall. Yeah, Samson, appreciate you. Gray, just been to the gym. Hell yeah, what kind of day we working with today? What kind of day we working with today? We getting those man boobies all nice and firm, you know? It's one thing. That's probably my biggest muscle. My chesticles. Back day? Back day was actually where I was the strongest. Because of my dislocated shoulders, I had to do a lot of back exercises, shoulder exercises. So probably like a year ago, my back was insane. Then you have a baby girl and you go, oh crap, I can't go to the gym anymore that much. I'm gonna start to get in the flow of it. Maybe I'll go today. February's a tough month for me, man. I need prayers. my pointer finger from clicking around so fast and drawing so fast. My pointer finger has a bicep. Let's be real. All right, as of right now, Meta totally giving it up. Meta giving it up completely right here. Almost seeing a curl down. We'll see if that continues, but that is something I would watch for. My baby girl does build the biceps, my goodness. She is finally, you guys know, I mean, if you've been a part of my channel since that time that we really started to do the live show, that was really when baby girl pretty much was getting here, and she was only born at like 5 pounds. She was born early. It was a very stressful time for us because they thought she might have had health issues. Thankfully, thank the Lord, she did not. She's a very healthy baby girl. She walks around constantly. She's always talking and crawling and running and doing all that stuff, but she is officially not in the lower percentages, which is very, very nice. It makes us feel good that she's not in those low percentages anymore. She still was always in the range, which is good. She was never in a scary area, but she was always teetering on the edge. So very thankful that she really likes food. She really likes regular food that you and I would eat. She loves steak. The first time we gave her steak, she like held it up to the sky and yelled like Ash Ketchum when he catches a Pokemon. I think it was hilarious. God, I'm a nerd. I think I just realized, like, with that last statement that I'm a nerd. $10 from Surrey. Hey, thank you so much for everything you do for baby girl's birthday, for your wife's birthday. God bless you and your family. Hey, God bless you right back. Thank you so much for doing that, Surrey. And thank you to everyone who's donated today. You guys have been very nice in donating so that we can look at some stuff. I do appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I imagine the Lion King, but with steak. Yeah, actually, that's kind of what it was. Pokemon, I just started watching the old Pokemons again. But thank you again, Surrey. That's very, very nice of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope your trading goes very well. I hope all your guys' trading goes well. But I'm going to hope Surrey's goes a little bit better today. How about that? My Pokemon investment was on. I've been looking into emulators and stuff. I just want to play it again. Like, it's so nostalgic. I just want to play it again. I played that new Pokemon, was it Sword and Shield? I played that like a year and a half ago. Pokemon from episode 1. I am Rother, so I was kind of watching it to make sure like it's okay for her to watch, and I think it's great. It actually catches her attention. I sent all my buddies a Snapchat of her watching Pokemon in the morning with me with her breakfast. I'm a nerd. Also 33, still playing sometimes on my old Game Boy. Dude, that's sick. The only problem with me, Bexon, is like with Yellow was the one that was most prominent to break, like the save glitch where you can't save the game. So I used to have Pokemon Yellow, like the little brick or whatever, and I used to play it. And then it got the save glitch like right away back when I was a kid. So I actually lost it, but it's like if I have to like sit there and play it all the way through. God, I love that. I love this chat that we can randomly talk about Pokemon for a second. I think that's awesome. The infinite rare candy glitch. Have you ever seen speedrunners play Pokemon? It kind of taught me, like, oh, training a Pokemon early is worthless. Like training up Pokemon early, like, after watching them, I'm like, wow, so training a Pokemon early is just, like a waste of time. Oh my god, Pokemon. Cuckoos, if you make a sweatshirt that says Pokemon and like has like a Pokeball on it or something like that, oh, I would buy it from you right now. I would get it for my wife for her birthday. And she would be like, I don't even like Pokemon that much. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not getting you a Nezuko shirt. She used to model, so she used to cosplay Nezuko and all these other people. She did the Naruto Cloud Girl, and everyone calls her all the time asking how she did it, still to this day. And she's like, I can't really tell them. I would love to sell them something, Lucas, but it was a bunch of sticks and glue was the only way I made it work. Have any OG Pokemon cards? That's the bad part. I never got into Pokemon cards. I've never been a collector of much. I am a very simplistic, minimal guy. Like if you came into my house right now, you'd immediately walk in and you'd point to the room and say there's 99 things that my wife has and there's one thing that I have. I've never been like a big collector of things. You're like my buddy. My buddy tries to get me to play that, Brian, and I'm just like, no, I can't do it. I'm like, once I do that, there's no going back. Like, I might as well get my retainer and start slurping. No, I'm just kidding, Brian. It seems like an interesting game, but I'd have to link you up with my buddy. Maybe you guys could play. I'm gonna use the enchantment of darkness. Yeah, whenever I think of that type of stuff, I just think of South Park, man, and I just love it. I'm gonna use Hands of the Clapping Gods. Oh, I love it, man. I love nerds. Nerds are great. I hope my daughter marries a nerd, because I'm one. Are you a Pokemon investor? Yeah. No, the thing that I think is funny about the show is I haven't watched it in so long, so it's almost like brand new to me. And I was watching like the first 10 episodes with my wife. We were just watching it now. And how bad Ash is at the beginning. I forget he's not bad Ash as in like, you know, a cool nickname, because that's what I call my buddy's 1-year-old. I call him Bad Ash. His name's Ashton. But it's more like he's terrible. Already got her a marriage arrangements. Gold needs to take a break. I think, Suri, I think you're right to point that out, but if the dollar keeps dropping, gold might explode, right? The dollar is just still dropping. It never confirmed up on the daily, and the 10-year, we were always like, it's weird that the 10-year is not following, and now the dollar and the 10-year both are dropping again, so they like to move in tandem. Right now, we'll see if that switches, but it switched for a moment, and then you just saw the dollar drop off, so. It's just really high. You look at GLD and you're going, oh my goodness, like that thing is up there, and this thing could just throw up at any moment, really. But if the dollar keeps going down, it's still good for gold. I mean, this is a rip and a half. Like, you ever want to see some kind of absolute, like, just bullish run, I mean, that's gold lately. It made the strong base, and have we ever given up the strong base? No, we just rode the 5 this entire time. Amazing for gold. And look at this, hey, we broke. came back in, broke again, then you just saw upside the whole time. It's very nice. AMC finally not flat. Up 0.32. Let's go, dude. But don't worry, because everyone's buying Palantir due to, you know, due to Jim Cramer. And that's down 3%. So he goes, my bad. Do you think it flushes through 100? I think 100 is a big level to pay attention to. So if you're thinking psychologically, 100 would be a great level to pay attention to. But you're looking for that reconnection with the moving averages. This is a very bullish move, right? So 100 can be where like people do sell above those levels because 100's a whole number. It's a big number. Psychologically, people gravitate towards it. Okay. But are we going to break through? And that's where you got to see that pull back into more positivity, at least on the 30-minute. What up, OG? Netflix, I think it's just like, hey, daily divergence, and Netflix will have its day of reckoning. I don't think I can't say that it's going to be easy to time this out and be like, oh yeah, I can short this down to even 800 or 840, right? But I would more be looking at Netflix and just being like, yeah, as an investor, I'm not even looking at Netflix at this point. So you did reach the $1,000 mark. So once again, that psychological level coming in. If this daily crosses down, you have daily divergence there now, right? We were kind of leaning towards that too, right? You remember how high up this was. We were like, yeah, Netflix eventually, we were talking about it like here. We were like, eventually this is going to experience a daily pullback, and then it does. And then we see that gain some ground. So that's a good thing. But now it has the weakness and momentum, so you got to be careful with it. As far as MSTR goes, I don't think we've looked at that today. We were a little bit worried about this yesterday because of the potential for like a head and shoulders that could pop up. We violated this. We said, let's see if a head and shoulders pops up. What were we looking for? Well, around these highs up in here, we're like, if this curls down and wants to head lower, then you could react down to this type of level, right? This type of level is what we were paying attention to, this low. And we did react down to there, not the full wick, but we did react down to there. We caught ourselves, and now we're looking if the sell side is going to catch up to us. So if the 2-hour confirms down, that's not a good thing, and you're seeing that right now on the RSI. You're seeing it right now in the price action. So as of right now, the 30-minute is still positive, so this is something that could go wrong. Right, let's say that 2-hour signal, I'm taking it early. Let's say I'm taking it early because I have price action and RSI on the 2-hour. Okay. Well, if the 30-minute curls up, that's completely contradictory to the trade. So that's it. This is a very easy management of the trade if I take it early. I'm not willing to take this right now. You guys know I don't really trust MSTR, and the options for this thing can be insane sometimes. Well, we've been looking at MSOS and showing those reversal signals, and it's seeing the positivity with while holding those bases. So that's why it's seeing positivity. Buyers are buying, and they created a strong base, and now the buyers are in control. That's what it seems like to me. Why is cannabis up? Probably because maybe people are trying to have more good times these days. I don't know. Okay, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was kind of sick too. I actually was pretty big in Digimon for a bit. Can you look at FET? Let's look at that. We haven't looked at what's it been doing. I mean, I think it gave up something, right? Yeah, so we reacted up to these levels. We failed that kind of build up, right? We kind of failed this little moment here. You crossed up for just a tiny moment and right away crossed back down. You got to be quick to react, and then we head to downside. That's a 30-minute, but then we see that curl back up. That's great, right? We're taking back the 5. So what does this look like to me? Probably just a 2-hour pullback that took place, right? High or low really confirmed here. So this means we need to pay attention if things go wrong, right? If that 30-minute crosses down, something can still go wrong. This could still be like a downtrend type of move. But if the 2 hours confirmed up and that's able to go positive, you know, you're curled up. You're taking back the 5. You're taking back the moving averages. I'd really like a test of these highs, or if nothing can go wrong, test the highs and then go make a new one, right? Break through these levels, retest those levels quickly, and then turn back up. That would be great. Get up to these levels. That would be better. But right now, you got to watch out for $19. If you break through this high, I'd be really watching $19 there. I think $19 could be some resistance is what I'm overall saying. 2 hour has not confirmed up for the SPY at this moment. Volatility at this moment heading down towards gap fill, just a little bit left. Yeah, I don't think it's like the worst looking thing in the world, but I think it's trying, and that's great. Do I think it's the best in the world? Maybe not the most like clear, but it is giving signals that you could make decisions, and then you just have to pay attention to everything you do in your trade, right? You have to be watching if you need to manage something. You have to know where those resistances are, and I think $19 and that previous high is what I'm watching. As far as the Qs go, you're still watching the same stuff, right? We actually curled down with these bars, but what are they from the previous bar? They're overall positive bars, right? These are all positive things. Now, I don't like this. This almost looks like a little bear flag on a 5-minute or something, right? Okay, you don't see it as much on the 5-minute here. You don't see it as clearly on the 5-minute here. Yeah, 15-minute crosses up, though. You're looking like a bull flag, right? Bull flag. And remember, the Qs actually did confirm the 2-hour up. So if that 15-minute can really confirm up, that'd be good. If the 30-minute can confirm back up, that would be good. Did the 2-hour flip back down? Not yet, right? So you still have 2-hour momentum as it stands right now. The only thing is on the 30-minute, when you look at this on the 30-minute, you're just going, if you really just pay attention to the thickness of the bars, you're going, I don't really like this look. This is going to need some big moment here to buy up. Say, yes, we are breaking through here. We are going to that topside move. Say, no, we are breaking this. We are going to that downside move. That's what I think you need. I just think I think NVIDIA looks decent. Right, I think NVIDIA looks decent. You're attempting to take back the 5. Hopefully that continues. Right, you have confirmed 2-hour divergence, suggesting that NVIDIA has made a base here. Right, this is all suggesting that this is a potential strong base to try to take out higher levels, take back the 5. What's different from here? What's different from here? You're above the 5 now. And you have formed the strong base we talked about, the very quick 2-hour divergence. We wanted it to be quick. It's quick. Right? We didn't go make that little 30-minute dip. We just did it. That's great. Now you have everything you need to head higher. Just make sure nothing goes wrong. You're still negative. I don't think it looks bad. I think it looks like, hey, the daily's going to make an attempt, and a daily lower high is the most probable thing right now. Oh, wait, this is for volatility. I need to put this on volatility. And this is my SPY. I mean, you can, you always can. That's the question I don't like to see a lot of the time is, can this happen? Yes, the answer is always yes. We did look at B-Buy a few times. I like to call it B-Buy. Yeah, we looked at it a couple times. You might just have to go back and find it. We've already looked at it twice today, unfortunately. Sorry about that, Richard. If you want, maybe we could do it quick. We'll do it quick. We'll get a little scan of this real quick. Yeah, it's just a big upward move. Good daily signal to cross up and say continued positivity. Pullbacks will be invited now. But this is great. This could be a whole new trend just because of how good this move is. So I would expect, some little pullbacks on the 30-minute, but if the daily rotates down right away, I'd be worried. But I just think that's low probability at this point. I haven't looked at the meta U-turn too much. I've just been pointing it out sometimes, right? Remember the meta had the weekly expected move tag, and then it just sold almost all of it off so far, right? We're about to cut the low from the open. Yeah, we're about to cut that low from the open, so that's gonna be an issue. So this is now confirming back down in 13 minutes, and then we could see this start to produce a 2-hour pullback, like an actual 2-hour pullback. We could even experience a daily pullback from this. You don't have divergence though. So even if this is a mean daily pullback and you end up down towards like 660, right? This would be a great level to watch at 20 moving up, right? Retest of that would be nice. Seems it could get complicated, but we'll see. So for this, it's just when it experiences good runs and it does that type of behavior, you see it kind of vomit. You see a good run, you see that type of behavior, you start to think like, oh, this thing might vomit. I like 660, and then after that, I like 617.82 for Meta. But yeah, you have 2 hours saying, yeah, this is getting pretty weak. It's just saying I'm squeezing. I could continue. It's going to be possibly hard to short, but this is when we pay attention, right? When we see all those divergences really close to the center line. Really close to the center line. And we're still there. We just got one more curl up. So, but this should be another point that says, hey, maybe, if you're sitting there and you're going, wow, why did this sell off all of a sudden? Well, this could be another point where maybe getting weekly expected moves and trying them out for a month for just $7 would be a good thing. Because then you'll catch little things like this happening that can give you a lot as far as it goes mentally with what's going on with Meta. It's like, now I see all these signals, right? Now I've taken the course on that sale in January, New Year, New Me sale. That's awesome. Now I have that information. How can I utilize it? Well, maybe I need to get a part of Patreon to get the weekly expected moves, or make a weekly expected move for Meta, watch that get tagged, and then go, okay, now I have divergence. It's tagged a weekly expected move, and it's starting to prove itself again. Why would Meta need to pull back? Well, because it looks like this on the daily. Look how overbought that is, and people are probably jumping into Meta. It's only got a 0.84 ratio for the week, so I don't think people are overly taking calls. I think they are on Apple, but it's just Meta needs to back off at some point, and it's probably going to be in one of these type of looks, and I think it'll be more like this one. I don't think it has to be that deep. I think it just could, for a couple of days go tag this. But I'm aware that if it wants to fully pull back and retest the breakout, this area here is where I'll pay attention. 630 to 617 is pretty much what I'm looking at. And here we go. Here's your negative bar. Let's see if it can cross over that MACD in 10 minutes. Continuation upward. As of right now, I'm looking for if that 30-minute, right? I'm paying attention to the 30-minute very seriously. You keep seeing me click back over to the 30-minute for the SPY. That's because I really want to see, are we taking back the 5, or is that actually going to flush from that area? Right? Are we going to end up down here? Are we going to end up all the way down here and test that 590 put wall? What news is going to come out? Is Trump doing something big today, right? People are really reacting to Trump. So, like, I wonder if we could find out what meetings he has. Maybe I can use AI to help us out with this. Let's see if AI can find it for me so I don't have to go look through news or something. Oh, of course, yeah. Well, let's use a different AI because, of course, the Google AI is a little friggin' just excuse my language, but I want to say it. It's a puss boy. Let's do this again. Okay. See if this one will tell me. They're searching all the platforms. Includes a press briefing by the White House press secretary at 1 p.m. Eastern time, so that'll be like noon. There's no publicly available information regarding any meetings according to meetings are called specifically related to tariffs scheduled for today. That's what minister resulting in a 30-day postponement of the planned 25 tariff for Canada. Additionally, nationwide across 50 states. Let's see. Mexican officials confident on reaching U.S. tariff deadline before the updated deadline, which I believe is 30 days, if I'm not mistaken. This month is more than enough to reach an agreement on these issues. So it looks like they're going to try. Over the next few days, over the next few weeks, we can give strong evidence that Mexico is willing to keep collaborating. So they're overall discussing it, and it looks like by the end of the month, you'll have an answer from Mexico and possibly even Canada. So nothing on the books right now as far as publicly what we could find as far as if people are going to react to something. We just get an update from the press house secretary at noon Central Time for me, but 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Hey, what's going on with Meta? Let's go click on that for a second, because Meta is starting to come down a little bit here. I don't know, man. I have to give it a try. We'll see. I might give that a try. He did say that. That was interesting to me, the control of Gaza. Apple currently down the 4L would be awesome if it flushes down to the lower monthly, wipes out the calls before reversing, did something similar back in January 2024. Yeah, Apple, I think you gotta even pay attention to a 30-minute this week, though. Okay, I think you gotta pay attention to a 30-minute this week. I know it's like, hey, that could be confirming down. I don't trust 4-hour charts as much as I trust the ones that I like 30-minute and 2-hour. I think 30-minute could show us something like this, and then that's it, right? We have a weekly expected move down here. But Meta is saying, hey, I'm topping out. So you're not incorrect to point out, hey, Apple could go through something more dramatic. But I just want to see how this 30-minute behaves over the next session or two. And I want to see how the SPY does around 590. If we can get all the way there, that would be amazing. But very likely to see, potential for this, right? This is a pretty good amount of buying, so we'll look for this as well. Because if we go all the way down here, there's no guarantee that divergence holds. I'm a short Meta, don't encourage it. Yeah, that was my thinking. Let me look at the pricing. I mean, it looks good. I think I'll probably target 660. Do I think I need a lot of time? Probably not. I probably don't need a ton of time. Might just do the 21st. Maybe 2 contracts. It's a decent amount of risk, but I think it could be good. Yeah, might give it a whirl. All right. See how that goes. Now, if the 30-minute just bounces off of this and curls back up, I'm probably out of that right away. Might look to get in later, but not bad. Wolfie boy starting to make a comeback. 2 hours crossing up finally. Woo! Wolfie boy, Wolfie boy, Wolfie boy. Oh my gosh. Just took it short at 715, double top from earnings. So far, so good. Yeah, I mean, as long as you're confident managing a trade, right? If you know that you're in control and you have a way in and a way to get out if something goes wrong and a point that, you want to take profit, multiple reasons to take profit, hey, it's great, right? Even for something like Meta, you do have a weekly expected downside move, right? We have a weekly expected downside move for tomorrow if we want. So, but we like Wolfie boy doing a good little signal there. See if that one can come up. Trail stop in. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Can we look at Bitcoin? Yeah, let's go look at Bitcoin because Bitcoin's interesting. Bitcoin saw the good move up and then look at the resistance at the 5, drops back down, tries to curl up, drops back down. Not necessarily a good thing. Daily never confirming up. 4 hours still saying hey, I could dip down one more time, right? It's kind of in the same state as the SPY, just seeing more of a rejection at this point, but it's still holding up well, right? We want to see if that 2 hour can just really curl up and take back the 5. But if this 4 hour starts to confirm down, you're starting to reach down again towards 91.8K. Eventually, here's the thing. Eventually, you knock on a door enough times, the door starts to get a little loose. Right? Door starts to get a little loose. And if you start to break through that door, you knock too hard, ooh, you could break through, right? You could punch right through that door. So that's going to be an issue. You do have daily divergence at the high, so just don't be sleeping on the fact that Bitcoin could be seeing negativity soon, right? The daily is still pointing down. The 2 hour right now is pointing down. The 4 hour is the only thing that's still positive, but the price action is pointing down. If that crosses, hey, we can come to here, watch out for divergence, but if divergence doesn't prove itself, I'd be very cautious with Bitcoin now. We've knocked on this door a lot. Doesn't mean it can't be bullish. I just say if that reversal signal doesn't pop up, I'd just be a little cautious with Bitcoin, and you might have to wait a little bit longer to see if that's going to hold up. And I think you're at risk of potentially even a flush at some point. We'll see. What are you thinking of SPY? We're just watching it test the 5, right? We haven't seen much at the 5. We haven't seen the 2 hour cross up for the SPY. We haven't seen the rejection fully for the SPY off the 5 right now. Very interesting, but people are willing to place some pretty confident bets, I would say. I mean, 0.71 is nothing to, it's not like too great, but overall, we've just seen these little moves to the put side. We've seen more and more call side activity. You can see this as well by the CPC, right? We look at this, we did this, and we just go, there's a lot of call side activity. And so when this shifts through, usually you do see some negativity come in. So there are risks still there in the market. It's just you're getting some of those risks to wipe away, right? You're getting some of these risks to go away. We haven't lost the previous low yet. We have 2 hour down here trying to possibly curl up, but once again, that's a negative now. So this is saying positivity is still pretty good. 4 hours starts to confirm up above there, though. That's when I'd be a little worried. I'd be saying higher low. So you got some interesting stuff going on. This is where trading like water is very important, being very quick and having a plan. Bang your head too many times, you get dizzy, right? Yeah, you can, you know, people, all those people potentially selling right at 91.8K and then it rips back up. They're probably sick of it by now. Yeah, I say 91.8, but you're that general area, right? It's never a... I'm not a trader who thinks everything like a hard line, like this is the exact thing I need to be watching. It's like, I think everything's a general area. That's why you'll see me take profit towards a weekly expected move if the profit's good, or if I have a bad gut feeling, I'm like, hey, we're towards the move. That's enough for me. Gives me that extra time too. Yeah, I miss out on maybe a little 20% or something, but gives me that time to react. So I don't have to sit there and fish and hope I'm getting filled, hope it gets filled, hope it gets filled. Oh no, it's dropping fast now. Now I need to get filled at a lower level. No. It can be. It gives you that basic understanding, Tyler. That basic understanding of just like my MACD, how do continuations happen? That's pretty much what swing trading is. It's like continuation, that kind of thing. So it can help you. I would say if you mix it with the other course, that's like the best scenario to figure out like how to see direction easier. Because you're going to notice that like monthly expected moves, okay, we head down to a monthly expected move, then we curl up. Well, at this point, you might be right here, and then adding the other course to see reversal signals here is good. So you could say, okay, this is looking highly probable that if the daily curls up here, we're going to see some kind of retest, or maybe that next build up kind of move for the next swing. So it can be helpful, yes. It can be helpful. It's just pretty basic. I would always try to mix that with the other one. The other course is sold out? No way. I didn't even know that could happen. I don't think that's supposed to happen. Did I change this? I don't even think I'm so like back and forth these days. It's insane. Really? I don't think that should have happened. Doesn't seem right. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen, but oh, no. see here, users, do this. Try to figure that out real quick, but yeah, it shouldn't be. That's from a long time ago. Oh well. I'll look at that maybe a little bit later, but for now we'll pay attention to the market. This is where you seriously have to reject too. Like if you think about it, bullishness, you kind of need it, right? You kind of need the bullishness to not have the probability start to add up to like, hey, we could really see a big drop here, right? If this daily starts to cross down, it's like you could wipe out all of this. That would be very, very bad. I'll take a look at this later though. The 5 is the blue line coming across. Let me go see if I can click into my own video real quick. See if I get the same message. Hey, it popped up for me, just so you're aware. Popped up for me. Oh shoot, I didn't change the, oops, didn't change the price either. Yeah, I'm really slow at updating things, I guess, but, so I guess it's still $100 today, don't tell anyone. Yeah, it's all popping up for me, but I don't know if you went to payment and then you got a message or something, but it's all popping up to me. All right, let's see what's going on here. Get back into these charts. VIX fill in the gap, SPY, QQQ, NDX look okay, but it is a news-driven market. It kind of is. It's news, and then you got to be quick with the reaction because we are getting like news that causes dramatic selling. Here we had some things that gave us hints, right? We had some things while we were building up. That's why we were able to put out the Thursday warning. Sorry about that though, Tyler, but keep asking questions, my dude. Like, keep asking questions. That is by no means a bad question. Like, market direction, swing trading, yeah, once you utilize monthly and weekly expected moves with it, I think it makes that easier for sure. Or at least like what looks the most probable, right? It's like this can't drop forever, and then it hits a monthly expected move, and then you see the daily by the center line, you go, all right, so what would make the most sense? Well, some kind of bounce from here. You know, little things like that you can start to build upon. Let's see here. Yeah, video heading to 127. As long as it can stay, you know, looking good. I think you got to get through 125. That's one of my little lines, but you know, a test of 127.74 would be very, very good, right? This has been a good level so far. Every time it's been good. And then you'd more still be looking at pullback, right? You'd still be looking pullback. I mean, on the 30-minute. If you cross a 2-hour, it's kind of a different story, right? If you cross a 2-hour, you're crossing back below the 5. That's going to be a problem. So 2 hours, you're really, like, risk is there if the 2-hour crosses back down. But your reward is technically starting to build to where, like, hey, this could get a snapback reaction to the upside. Right? You look at the daily and you go, risk, reward. Okay, well, a lower high is very likely. Maybe we want to see this thing curl up for a bit of time. I don't think I'll be around that too much. I'm still looking at like this one. I think Apple looks like the interesting one. If Apple could do this, I would love it. I'm down. Like, let's do it. I'm down. Martial Law's like, I'm doubling down because volatility is going to fill it. It filled the gap now, so now's when you want it to turn around. You look at this on a 5-minute. Did you notice this little thing going on here? Little thing going on here as well. You don't have like the great divergence point on the RSI though. That's the unfortunate thing. That's right, Toronto, doesn't it? It kind of looks interesting. I mean, that's the best way to put it. And I'm just like, okay, we did the thing last week, right? We needed to take back the 5 on the 30-minute and then look at the positivity that came. So now we need to make this a strong base, and then we can see if the positivity comes again. And then I think you're due for a test of something like maybe 20 or 250. It's just, can we make it a strong base, though? Whenever at weekly expected moves, you just want to make sure there's confirmations, guys. It's just something that helps me a lot, because when I take things before confirmation, you end up in that recipe that Apple did, where if you take something before confirmation, you just keep heading lower, 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 right? Maybe this was like a very crappy confirmation of something, and then you go, okay, I'll take it anyway, and then lower. If you're not managing risk based on the 15-minute chart with your 30-minute trade, that can be a big problem. So we'll probably look at a 15 in here. Right, we'll look at a 15 in here and see, oh, that crossed down for a sec. Then it crossed back up to fake you out, so damn. But Apple was one I just cut the losses pretty quick. It was this moment here, I think. This moment here. Boom. I cut it out after this, and I'm very glad I did. Started to head down. I just didn't take the next play up because of earnings week. SMH, I'd keep my eye on. You have a lot of reversal signals from your semiconductors. You have a lot of them, a lot of them. And you're pretty much saying like, hey, I'm trying to make a higher low here. And you're pretty successful at this moment. So this could see some kind of move up. And you do have reversal signals. You used to have it for AMD. You have it for NVIDIA, and that's confirming. You have it for something like SMCI, right? And that's confirming. So you have a lot of reasons that SMH could head up. But it's just looking at the market overall, you're going, okay, this needs to confirm up a 2-hour and see that positivity. And maybe semiconductors are what's going to push that. Good morning, Freddie Hazard. Thank you so much for joining today. Yeah, NVIDIA's got the 2-hour divergence. It confirmed like yesterday. What was it? What was the QB? What is it? QBTS? D-Wave Quantum. I don't mind quantum stocks, really. It's just a lot of them have some complex looks. Like you would say, this is relatively complex at this moment, right? You're kind of stuck here. I mean, if you have daily momentum, this is why investing at lower levels can be good. Actually, I mean, that looks like it's really gunning. I mean, technically, you're like, hey, okay, we went low. We're holding at higher levels. If I can confirm that up, you might be this king could, man, you have a lot of room there, and you're right by the center line. So that's going to be positive almost right away. I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. So you're obviously paying attention to a few things, right? You're paying attention to gap fill, most likely, right? There's probably a little area in here that could be resistance. But the daily crosses up, you get through that, hey, you test the high, maybe even go make a new one. Watch out for divergence from this point, though, right? So I don't think it looks terrible. Looks like the SPY might want to still head in the upward direction for now. We take back that 5. Qs are kind of liking it. They're saying, hey, we're going to shrug this off. We're going to see that next move higher, get up to these levels. Wouldn't be that bad. I wonder if we tighten up at all. Wonder if we like. Wonder if we see like boom, 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 right? I think this market wants to rip around a little more than it has been. Remember the implied volatility yesterday, and we saw like what, one move, and then it just sat. It didn't even reach a daily. Pretty crazy. Thanks for the blessings. Yeah, and SPY's over the 5 as well. It's starting to try to get above it. It's really right at it right now. Exactly, QQQ of today's low to high. So some day trade fib retracement people probably getting involved. I bet a lot of people are trying to dictate which way this stuff's gonna go. So I'm just gonna sit. And I'll hold on to some meta stuff for fun. Actually, it's really not for fun. That's a full trade right there. Now that I think about it, I'm like, the options are expensive enough for meta that it's pretty much a full trade. It's probably the bigger trade that I've taken over the last month. That's all right. Just look at the decisions you're making now, Tyler, and try to change them a little bit, right? Figure out what's going wrong, figure out what things you could do better, figure out what's going right, and then just do the better things better, and then try to get rid of the weakness. Stick to the strength. Are you taking profit too late? Are you taking it too early? Are you getting into trades before they confirm? You know, pointing out that stuff can be good. All right, here we go. Now the SPY's really taking back that. So this looks like potentially the next move higher up to these levels as long as everything stays good here. Q's suggesting that as well. But I'm wondering, gap fill might be interesting too. We are gap filling now. NVIDIA short squeeze, potentially. I mean, it's at extremely low levels. We'd have to look at those numbers. You got this, Tyler. I believe in you, bud. You ask good questions, so I assume that you can come to some good answers too. 5WS 229.8. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it can get there. It can squeeze up to that level. It's just, I mean, man, you need some better volume probably to come in for this now. Like the volume, you see that just dying off right at the end here as you approach, you know, some higher levels, as you approach that resistance. So a little bit worrisome, but I think you're more just paying attention to, hey, the 30 minutes up there, it looks good. If we get a 30-minute pullback and it turns back up, that'd be even better. That'd be great. You're happy about it, right? Just got to make sure everything stays smooth. TLT, reversal signals, played out, then created a double bottom, then played out the other way, right? This is a rip around kind of thing for TLT. Like, I actually shorted TLT for a brief moment, and this little motion right here convinced me to get out. I didn't see that big reaction from the 10-year yield. I made like, I don't know, I made almost like barely anything on that. But you know, sometimes with plays, I'm just like thankful when you see it the next day and it goes completely contradictory to what you were holding on to. It's like, oh, I'm very glad I made the decision to sell. I sold for the right reasons. It's a good way to do it. I'm new and losing money. Is it everyone or just me? It depends. I mean, the thing is, it goes week by week. It goes trade by trade, right? We don't say we make money in every single play, right? I've lost money, you know, live on this channel and said like, oh, I had to take a small loss here, right? But I'm managing my risk. It's more about, I am new and losing money. Is it everyone or just me? Most people have their individual problems. Collectively, they're probably similar, but you have to figure out what your problem is. Are you trying to day trade? Are you trying to do this? You know, you have to really, and even sitting down and writing the stuff down that's going wrong can help, right? Am I just taking plays? This is something you can write down. Am I just taking plays because I feel like it? What do a lot of people say? Like, take feelings out of trading, and you're probably a decent trader. What percentage of your total are you usually trading? I only trade usually, well, mine's a little different, but what I suggest is a little bit different. So I'll use most of the time I'm using like less than 10% of my actual whole, if you want to say like, what's the word for it? Say bankroll. But let's say you have, I always say 10% towards options. So if I have $10,000, I'm using $9,000 to potentially invest, right? And I can sit on cash with that if I'd like, and then I can start to try to do options with $1,000, right? That way, if you're in that learning period, hey, what's the max you're going to lose if you're learning and you make mistakes, which you're bound to make mistakes, and then you lose money? Well, you're going to lose 10%. That's a lot better than trying to use $10,000 for options and ending up with $1,000 at the end, right? Losing 90%. So Yeah, something I always like to say is, especially early starting out, and then as you get bigger numbers, it can get smaller based on how you like to trade. So for me, say, 10% might be too much that I want to risk, right? If I say 10% is the max I'm willing to put behind a trade, hey, what if that's, what if I'm a millionaire and that says every single trade I take has to be $100,000? Like, that's a lot of money, right? A 30% loss with $100,000 is $30,000, right? That's a lot more money. So your mental kind of changes as it grows, and you'll see that naturally. If you practice risk management, you're going to see it naturally happen. But usually if it's 10, I say 9 goes to investments, 1 I can do options, right? And that's kind of how I like to tell people starting out. That's a good way to learn over time and not risk all of your money, right? And if you're at a time where a monthly chart in the SPY looks like it does, you're probably going, hey, I'd like to just maybe sit and wait for the moment where this might be a good time to invest. Or maybe you're like, hey, TLT investment. Maybe you're like dollar investment. Maybe you're like whatever, but it's kind of up to you at that point how you do it. Did I sit on Google during a drop, or will it come back? I don't do calls and puts yet. So it depends on if you're holding the stock, if you're willing to hold on to the stock, right? A lot of the times you will see a snapback from this, right? For the most part, we would say like what? Well, right now, down is the direction. We are very negative. So what are we looking for? Well, overall, the downside to continue, right? Very obvious direction right now. So if that wants to continue, you could react up to the 5 and then see that next drop. So I'd say like, hey, if we react to the 5 and we don't take that back and you see the 30-minute curl back down, then it would say, hey, that potentially is something that could go lower, right? Investment-wise, though, I just like daily charts, and it's unfortunate that this confirmed like this and had earnings. Because if you would have seen a red bar like this, it would have just been a great sell, right? Or a red bar like that, it would have been a great like, hey, yeah, this was a good run. Okay, now it's giving it up. And the good run keeps happening on big gaps pretty much. You gap up and then you see wonkiness for a while, but yeah. You'll just have to look at it. You have to look at it and really just pay attention to what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right, and try to do the right things more and try to minimize or change things to minimize even more so those losses. It could be management of risk times, right? It could be hey, am I getting baited into taking shorts when the market's dramatically down, right? That happened to a lot of people. That's why we caught this great squeeze, right? It was because of this in here. Everyone was shorting here. Everyone was shorting all in this. And then we said squeeze is the more probable thing because of that. That's one of the ticks that we use. And then boom, we catch a big run. So it's just, what is my decision making here? What is my decision making after a run like this here with a weekly expected move? So there's a lot that goes into it. That's why it takes time. You can't just, unless you just have a very, very, very adaptable brain and can soak this all in, you're a photographic memory type guy, you just are more likely to take more time. It's going to take a year or two. So for the first year or two, I would treat my risk management very seriously, and that'll be great practice. Yeah, exactly. Dave's like, you can't go through it without making mistakes, pretty much, like without taking a loss. It's just it literally is like, you would have to be Nancy Pelosi and never trade stocks until you're a politician that has power. That's the only way you probably like surefire can never lose money. But even her positions are down sometimes, right? It's just very rarely, very rarely they're down. And that's why at the beginning stages, practice risk management. If you treat $10,000 like a baby, treat $10,000 like it's your baby, you really care about that $10,000, and you're like, hey, if this move crosses down, I need to get out because I could risk my baby. Well, then think of how you're going to treat $100,000. You respected 10 grand. Think how you're going to respect 100. You respect 100 grand. Think how you'll respect 1,000,000, right? As you potentially grow. Now, I'm not saying I think everyone's going to become a millionaire and this and that, but you can make a living off of this if you give yourself that period of time to learn about risk management, you are more likely to be able to turn this into something that actually makes you money over time. Work boss caught me on the phone. Oh, damn it, Jess. Hide, quick. IWM, did it do it? There you go, 229, there you go. I think you could still reach up to 229.89, but like you said, if it looks good, the trade looks good, Eden, I'm happy for you. That's awesome. I saw you kind of spamming a couple times like, God, I need this thing to 229. That's awesome. Key is to write down your mistakes and look over them often to remind yourself not to make the same mistakes. Risk management is key. Having a plan and sticking to it, right? Yeah, that's the saying that I heard on that other guy's thing was, what? Plan the trade and trade the plan. Of course, the best. I feel like a G. That's awesome, Eden. Now, what I'm going to challenge you with right now, Eden, have that celebration for 5 minutes and then go into depression mode, right? Go into, oh, okay, but the job's not done mode, right? And don't do anything too quick, right? Practice that patience, enjoy the winnings, and then sit there and go, okay, but I know this is a continuous game. I love it. Now I go kill my body at the gym. Leave those runners while you go running. I like it, Eden. Hey, have a good little gym sesh, okay? And anyways, guys, I do have to hop off at this moment. It's about almost 11 o'clock now, so I do have to hop off. But this is showing that we are taking back the 5. That means this 2 hour could confirm up right here. This means that the upward expected moves are very likely to get tagged as it stands right now as I'm getting off the stream. Obviously, we're always paying attention to if something goes wrong, but right now the upward expected move would be likely in this area, so we'll be watching out for it. We'll be talking about this later on YouTube, and tomorrow night we'll be putting out those daily expected moves if you want to join Patreon. But I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys contributing to the chat. Thank you so much for all the donations today. My wife will appreciate it as I get her nice birthday presents, but I hope you guys have a great day. All right, practice that risk management, practice that risk management and just really focusing on creating that plan. It can help a lot. So trade like water, you guys will be just fine. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Peace out. I need to start putting like a peace out sticker or something on this when I'm gone so people don't come in and be like, what the heck, where is he? Put a peace out sticker down there. All right, later.